Hey everyone. Hey Bob, Tim, and Hannah, Randy. I'll go ahead and set up the. Messed that up. There's the link to the top. There's Bob.
What is this mess up you speak of? You didn't mess up. It was perfect.
All right. I clicked on my own StreamYard connection instead of pinning it. So, oh my.
I pulled a little honey today, but it was not a good. Man, I pulled that stuff off and it started feeding frenzy.
Ooh,
There was
little
beans
Robert
everywhere.
situation.
Yeah, it was. They got a few drinks before I shook them off and took them in the building anyway.
Well, I had like you occasionally have. I had to. Nobody blew their horn, but the lady stopped in and got a pound of honey from me. So that worked out well. And
I think I pulled about, I say 50 pounds today. Not a lot. I mean, just but every time I'm getting that uncapper dialed in a little bit more. A little
hey,
bit
Jason,
more.
and Michael, and Randy, and Joey, and let's see who else there. We got the Honeystone Farm. That's a new person that I
hanging
don't.
out on my channel, Honeystone.
I'm glad you're coming over, Honeystone. Glad to meet you. You got Ben and Hope and
We got Randy,
Bill
Joey,
and Grange Bees, which is
Alex.
Alex. Yeah, I don't have. I thought I had him in there
It
on
just
my
seems like
on my chart.
I can't get more than a box or two of honey off at a time. Anytime I go out there, I was like all prepped. I'm like, man, the weather's okay, but it's been raining for the last several days. So when I popped that open and they haven't been out to forage too much,
Yeah.
it was on.
And there's Papa Steve. Hey, look at who showed up. Hey, old James there. That's cool.
He's riding.
That's cool. Good to see you. Darren up here in Pennsylvania, and glad to Papa Steve's. I don't believe I've seen you on the chat here lately. Good to see you. And
So I saw Donna asked about that solar wax melter.
Yeah, I posted. I got a video on it.
I got one. You got the licensed one, or you got a different one?
No, I got a homemade one. Got a homemade.
The buckwheat is still buckwheating. It's sprouting. However, we'll see in the next. It hadn't even been a week yet, has it?
No, not really.
Monday is when I put it out.
JM, which is Jack here from out here in Wyoming. Hey, good to see you.
It's 82 degrees right now.
Huh?
82 degrees right now.
It's 70 degrees here and damp, and it's rain here on and off all day today, but we still need it terribly. And
there's Lloyd.
There's Lloyd. Hey, Lloyd.
But yeah, we had just a little bit of raindrops today, but man,
it showered in the afternoon, pretty much all afternoon, which was good.
But
not all afternoon, but on and off.
I did find swarm cells, but I didn't find a swarm, so dispatch those.
Well, you can get them taken care of before they swarm.
Yeah, knock them down. But you know what? I'm starting to find what old Michael Buck was finding. Lots of pollen frames. Lots and lots of pollen frames. Like they're backfilling with pollen. So I gotta somehow take that out, and I don't know if I got to give them a foundation or something that they can work with. But now, I set the honey frames out there. I got a few deeps. I'll try to swap some of them around tomorrow.
Yeah, well, if the weather's going to be halfway decent tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to pull some more honey. And my mentee that helps me there, Scott, he said will be able to. And and then this afternoon, I was getting low on my supply area, that I keep for my honey bottles. So I bottled up, I don't know, let's see, about 20 some pounds of honey or more.
I am sitting at 300 pounds so far, less than I had last year.
Steve says it's hot up in Vermont.
Of course, I still got a ton of supers out there.
And Ziggy there. Hey, Ziggy. Up there in Canada, I believe it is.
He is in Canada.
Yep.
So what you want to talk about tonight?
I don't know. That's what's been happening here. Been pulling some honey. The honey flow is over for me. As far as the honey season goes. And I've gotten about 280 some pounds so far, but I'm hoping, I don't know, it just didn't do well for me so far this year.
Right.
Between queen issues and maybe the dry weather that we had. Hey, there's Lynn.
Speak of the devil, and there she is. We just talked about her. Actually, Donna.
Yeah, she's looking for a solar wax melter. I know that.
I got the license.
You got the licensed model?
Mm-hmm. The cheaper of the two license. 600 pounds. But you pack, does he ship it wholesale somebody?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's a packer. He's got a regular machine, a piston operated packing machine.
Oh, bottling machine? That's kind of like that Kunzer Farms has one of those.
Well, it'd be like Bob Benny's. He's got something similar to Bob Benny's, I think, where you dial it into a certain number and it automatically puts whatever the amount is for a certain size bottle.
Is that the, what Man Lake sells those, like the Easy, what is it called? Easy Fill or something like that?
Yeah, but that's junk. Hey, Lee. No, what Lloyd bought was, I think he said he bought it around Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's a regular commercial stainless steel thing, and it you dial it in.
Like my scale one, you dial it in, put a bottle on, it fills it. The Daydant Fillmaster, is that the one?
None of it.
He knows all the names of everything.
Hey, Darren. There comes Darren. There's Darren.
Hey, Darren.
Let's see. I'll see in a comment here. Where are we at? Oh, Jason. I believe it's Jason right there. Honeybee compound. Need a little more nectar. Well, yeah, we would like to do that, but I don't see anything flowering around here unless maybe you're up close to the Delta, Pennsylvania, Susquehanna River area. There might be some other things that are growing in that area and all, like BB trees or maybe some privet or something like that I don't know of.
What the hell's a BB tree?
It's Chinese BB tree. It's
is that its like legit name, or is that something that you guys just call it in your area?
No, it's called a BB tree, but I think there might be another type of name for it.
Like BB like a gun, or BB like in BEE?
I'm not sure.
I think it's BB like a gun.
Like the gun?
Yep.
BB
Lloyd uses a pneumatic volumetric piston filler from Philippac in Philadelphia, PA.
Sounds like
huh?
Sounds like a big long scientific name for piston bottle filler.
Yeah, something like that. It's got like a hopper on the top if you need that, and then I think he can hook up hoses from his big tanks that he has and all that.
Hey, I got a
What you
question
doing, Darren?
about StreamYard. Do I, like, if I would log in actually and like actually sign up for it, would I be able to see the chat and everything on
No,
the no?
only if you're doing it yourself.
Oh, so how do
So,
you do it? Like,
so you can see the comments, like on the top right. There's a chat box on the right hand side.
but then how do I respond? Like, I can't.
You can't respond. No, all we can do is see it.
Oh,
Yeah, the way I do it is I have a big enough screen where I have
you split it.
the YouTube thing on one side.
Yeah, I'll have to do that or flip back and forth.
So the BB tree is called the Tetradium Denelli.
I don't know. They consider it invasive in the United States, but I don't see where it's any invasive. But it does bloom in the late fall when bees don't have a whole lot of food for them to eat. So it's
some people call it the Korean Evodia tree, the BB tree, which is BEE, like
DC got stung 20 times today.
Welcome to my world, DC. Must be them Russians.
Mm.
I got stung twice pulling honey.
So, Darren, what have you decided on how to do what you're going to do as far as?
That's why I jumped on. I don't know if. Let's see.
Yeah, the spotter lanternfly loves the BB trees. You guys don't have them guys yet that I know of.
Spotted lanternflies.
Yeah.
You guys probably ain't going to be able to see this, but that little cabin right there.
Yeah, I see the cabin.
It might be my next investment, my honey house, right there.
Yeah, okay. It's one of them drop, like a black bear building, but it looks like a cabin.
Well, that's what I wanted to. It's hemlock. So I'm not like Charlie. I thought since you're like the sawmill guy, you might at least I figure something.
Hemlock is a big Pennsylvania type tree that they like. It.
Yeah.
It's stable from what I understand. I'm not real familiar with it, but I know it. It's kind of like a stable tree, stable lumber and everything.
Yeah. So there's the inside. I mean, the inside comes already not really insulated really well, but it's got that bubble wrap, and it's 16 by 24. So I mean, it's decent size.
How much headroom you got?
It's like about 10, 12 feet.
A lot. I'm only 5'7".
Well, I mean, you're not going to bump your head on.
I'm not bumping my head on anything in there.
Yeah, but most of them buildings like that, you kind of have to duck, all the time.
Yeah. Well, I looked at different sheds, and a lot of them that were a lot cheaper than I had to duck my head coming out of the.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
And actually,
what would be beautiful about those? And I've been thinking about doing that same thing, Darren. But I thought it'd be nice if it had a door like that on the front, but like a garage type door on the back, so you could load boxes and stuff in the back of the store.
Yeah, you're right, and I can get this customized any way I want it, and with the double doors. And I was wondering, well, that's not in this photo. Like, do I want that?
You can either get a roll up door or a double door, side door.
Like that on the front, but on the back double door, or do I just want to get rid of that porch and everything and just have the double door in the front? And
my question is what are you going to use the porch for?
Yeah, I have ideas.
I mean, it looks aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
I used to sell mobile homes, and when I sold mobile homes, they would always have these double wides that had like wraparound porches and everything on it.
Right.
And similar to that. And I was like, all they're doing is cutting the square footage of your home, because the footprint of the mobile home is the same. So when they put the porch on, yep, it looks nice, but your house is actually, the living quarters is actually smaller.
It's smaller. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Mike from Minnesota, Mike wants to know what the flooring is in it.
It's probably
16 by 24. for?
No. What cover?
Probably 3/4 inch plywood or OSB.
You know what? I actually don't know, and that's actually a concern of mine. I don't know how much weight I'm going to have on the floors, so I was even thinking like I might have to sort of build like a pad or something to like displace the weight around if it's not really, if the floor is not, real heavy duty, I guess. But
Lloyd says to put it on crusher run. I would say you would want joist on there on 16-inch centers.
yeah, I guess I got more to look into, but I'm kind of looking for like not an easy.
I think the ideal of that is in your situation where you have to be inspected would be ideal. You just have to run water and electric to it.
Yeah.
And drainage. Probably have to have floor drain of some sort.
I'm still trying to get. I'm still talking to the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, and talked to them a few times already. But I can get away with, how like they have those portable sinks and gray water tanks and all that. I can get away with that for now. They said they'd work with me on it, but I have a piece of property that has drainage, or it has water, sewage, and electric. So in the long term, if I want to really, really get hooked up, I have the opportunity to do it.
I mean, if you need hot water, there's really, I think my brother's got one. It's only about a couple feet tall.
The instant hot water heaters too. They got those things.
Yeah, they got those too.
Tankless hot water heaters. They're only like $200, $300. Yeah. But the thing might be the bathroom part of it. And I said, well, nobody's going to be working there but me, but they still want to have a bathroom. If it was on my property, then they said the bathroom, like where my house is, I wouldn't have to worry about a bathroom. But since this is like not connected to my property, I would need to have a bathroom. And so that might be the sticking point, because I'm not putting 10 grand into a bathroom. That's a deal breaker.
Can't have an outhouse.
That's what I asked her. She has to get back to me.
Should have said, I'm a country boy. I got all the outhouses outside of the building.
I got all kinds of trees in my yard.
Yeah, that's like, you got the one tree with its branches are straight down. That's for the guys. And the ones with out on the sides are for the girls. All that kind of stuff.
A funnel and a hose through the wall.
That's what I'm looking at. Then I did this, Bob.
Nice.
I think you brought this up at Ollie's, so I grabbed a couple.
You have an Ollie's near you?
Yeah, we got.
How much were they? $8 or something?
$8.99 for 12 of them, which I think it breaks down to 73 cents or 74 cents or something like that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Are those pints or quarts?
They're pints.
Yeah, I knew
the ones you were talking about were pints, weren't they?
Yeah, it was $8 and some change. They had a whole pallet of them. I was like,
we did too.
If I didn't just buy 144 of them jars, I probably would have bought some more.
Yeah, I only bought 2 cases. I already got a bunch of jars.
Now, Minnesota Mike brings up a good thing about, when you're washing stuff like honey itself, and then you got the wax. You definitely don't want to put that in any kind of sewer system. That's going to choke you up in a heartbeat. You're going to have to put I don't know what you had to put, a holding tank or something.
Like a grease trap type of deal?
I would say so, because what was it? Bob Benny said that the components of honey will kill the bacteria as far as any type of drain fields. And you definitely don't. I mean, when I clean out my stuff, I go outside with a squirt, with a hose and a squirt nozzle and blow all that wax out into the grass and stuff like that. But something you might have to think about. I know one guy, he's passed away now, but years ago, I guess you might say he snuck it on the county, where all his wash water, like out of the detergents and things like that, they've always said it will mess up your drainage in your drain fields. He put a separate little, I'll say a hole with stone in it, and made all that kind of water go there. And all, you never had any problems. So
I've never had any problems with mine. The biggest thing with my septic here is the roots from the trees and whatnot. That's the worst part about it. But other than that, hadn't been an issue here. We put everything down there dishwashing detergent, soap, whatever comes out goes in there.
Yeah. Lynn she just came back. I said, well, we're talking about Darren's new honey house that he's trying to figure out, and he's got to have water and sewer type of stuff and all that.
So what's Russell Koopman is saying? Can you get by like Mr. Ed's drain system? What's Mr. Ed's drain system? I'm wondering. What's he referring to? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know what Mr. Ed's drain system is. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, but I got a lot to think about as far as that goes. But I'm kind of like stuck right now. Like I talked to some churches and some local organizations about using their facility, which I can probably make a deal with somebody for a donation. I can use their kitchen, but I'm kind of a little bit hesitant on that because, I mean, honey's sticky, right? It doesn't matter how bad how much you clean up, you're still going to have some sticky.
Speaking of cleaning up, look at Todd. Holy moly, he got a collared shirt on. Everything.
Had to work today.
The real job.
Yeah, I just got home from the office. Yeah. I've been up since 3 a.m. my time. First thing I did when I came in the door is rip the smoke alarm out of the ceiling. It chirped 3 short chirps every minute since 3 o'clock, and I couldn't go back to sleep. I shut my door, everything. I put my head under the pillow. Anyway, so I went to work and borrowed a couple of 9-volt batteries because I thought I had some here because I would have done it this morning before I left. Didn't have any. So got up on the ladder, put a new fresh battery in there, and it still chirped. And so then what I did, it's hardwired to the house. So I disconnected it, and then I read underneath 3 chirps means that there's a malfunction. So I have to get a new smoke detector or smoke alarm.
You couldn't have just took the 9-volt battery out and went to sleep?
No, I did. I took the 9-volt battery out. It's still, I came downstairs and
still was chirping.
Oh yeah. It's hardwired into the house. So it had power the whole time. The thing is that it was malfunctioning. I didn't know it at the time. I thought it was just a bad battery. So I'm kind of slow tonight.
Everything gets sticky and, well, at least the outside doorknob on my honey house, when it gets sticky, the bees just get it. You just got to watch. You got to watch the handle that you don't grab the handle while they're trying to clean the honey up off the door handle.
And I'll say, like, power to you. He did the same thing with a church chicken, but then you got to move your equipment and all that stuff. That's a pain.
Dude, I mean, you can't bottle any honey unless you do it in a honey house that's been given by the state.
Pretty much. I mean, that's if you have a pet in your house, you're like, see, the thing with me is I want to go a little bit bigger, like do like not just like cells like at my house, but like expand out into like doing like different like
markets and stuff.
Yeah, markets and street fairs and stuff like that, and that kind of sets me up for an inspection right there.
See, as long in South Carolina, as long as I'm selling to the consumer, and I don't sell more than 4,800 pounds, then I don't have to have an inspection. So
good to see you. Good day, Randy. The rooster is in town.
So that's my goal is to keep right at that limit for right now.
I bottled some honey last night, some of that orange honey I have. It has a peach nose and then a spicy peach finish after about a minute.
Really?
Yeah, it tastes great.
I've never tried orange honey, orange blossom honey.
Well, this isn't all orange honey. It's peach and plum and nectarine and whatever else they got.
It's fruit honey.
It's really good.
You should make a label that's like Willy Wonka. It's snozberries. Because the snozberries really taste like snozberries.
Didn't I tell you one time I was thinking about making a label with the first two letters of each fruit that I thought was in it,
Yeah,
like orange
you've
and
talked
plum.
about that.
Yeah, I didn't do it this year, but I might do it next year because man, it is so good.
That'd be unique marketing. What is this? It's
Yeah.
Shangri-La. It's a little bit of or sangria. Call it sangria, honey. It's got all the different fruits in it.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
Grammy. So you have Darren, you got another property that this other place is going to be at then?
Probably. Yeah. It's just right up the road, about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have all those regulations here. I mean, I've got different limitations. Like I can't do like Texas and go put it in a store without being inspected, but I can definitely sell to an individual.
Yeah, if I'd want to sell online or anything like that, they're going to come and see me. One good thing is that the municipality that I live in, they have like no zoning. Like I could, do whatever I want. I called them and they were like, "What are you even talking about? Just put a shed down and just do whatever you want to do. Like there's no zoning, no inspections, no nothing. The only inspection I would have to worry about would be if I actually run electric. So like in the short term, I could run a generator, which I got the generator and just to get started, I could do that. But then when I decide to run the electric and have a good decent electrical system, then it would have to be inspected, but that's it. And actually I could run the electric myself and they would never know it.
What's happening, Doug? How's things up in Canada?
Real busy, Charlie.
Are you? I mean, I guess the flow's starting up in your way, isn't it?
Not. It'll be week, 10 days before it really hits.
Okay.
We've got
how long?
alfalfa and we've got alfalfa and clover putting on a bit of a flow right now.
And that's what? That sweet clover, that tall yellow looking stuff? Yellow clover looking?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Yeah. I mean, there's a couple different styles. I mean, down here we have Dutch white clover, which is a real small and doesn't really generate a whole lot of honey and all that.
Kind of like all of South Carolina. Doesn't generate much honey.
So, how long will your flow last, Doug? Several months or?
Well, our canola will start in about 10 days. And depending on the seeding, we should get a good 4 weeks out of it.
Right. Okay. Let's see. We got a question here, everybody. Suggestions for a honey gate valve that's not the regular one. They seem to all leak. Something from a hardware store or something. Well, the only thing I can say is,
how much do you want to spend?
Yeah. You got the as they call it, the one drip or the no drip valve, which I call it the one drip valve. You got the honey gate that Max Ant sells, which what is that? $300?
They're 200 and something now. They're up there. And then you got the pneumatic valve that I've got from Better Bee. That's ran on a compressor and a foot pedal, but it doesn't always not drip either. So,
well, the Max Ant they call it the one drip valve. It still drips once at least, but
I got rid of my bucket with the honey gates on it because it didn't matter. It just leaked constantly. I could have it tightened up all the way on both sides and it would still drip. So I'd have to have a bucket under the valve there.
Right. He says that's not insanely expensive. Okay. And then you got, what is it, a license gate?
Yeah, I got the licensed pneumatic bottling valve. It's $435, but you got to use it with the compressor.
Randy says Hilco's got something new. I was wondering what that is.
Yeah, they got their own one drip valve now. It's got a plastic handle on it, but it's just
No, that just kills
operates
it.
the same way, right? Spring load it, push it down, same deal. Yeah, your piston filler probably was quite expensive. You know, I could adapt. I probably could adapt my filler straight off of my bottling tank. I haven't tried that.
Yeah, Lee says the one drip valve. I presume that's Maxant, $270 basically.
It is a pneumatic valve, yes, sir. $437. However, I know Charlie's like, I wouldn't spend that. And here it comes.
Nope.
But I got both of my hands free, and I step on the pedal and let off of it. Put the lid on. Done. So
Yeah.
it does come in useful, and only cry once, buy once, cry once.
Yeah, well, Clueless Beekeeping, the piston filler, that's a unit that you're bottling thousands of pounds. It's commercial big time. What size of the screen in the bottom of the uncapping tank?
Mine's got 2 stainless steel trays in it with slots in it. I only pulled about 50 pounds today, because as soon as I started pulling it, I set a box on the back of my truck. It didn't cover it, and I had every bee in the yard was on it, so I had to shake it all off.
That was dumb.
It didn't matter where. I mean, they were just trying to get everything because they've been in the colonies for several days with the rain.
Yeah.
So. Gonna hope.
Yeah, Ziggy. I had that. What's it called? The Hive Butler, and it has a screen in it made out of plastic, which has got like I'm not really sure. It's not, I'll say 1/8 inch holes in there, somewhere's in that neighborhood. And that just lets the honey drain out in the cappings.
You'd be surprised. I mean, I use those. Maybe I think I cleaned them both. I just strained some honey. I wanted to show you how much gets caught in that real fine plastic mesh after I've already run it through a double strainer and everything. That I don't know. I might have it. Let me see.
Let's see. Clueless. Big time little time. Kind of despise getting so much honey. Why would you want to give it away? Sell it, make money.
So Charlie, you're done for the year? Like you don't get a fall flow or goldenrod or anything like that?
We could get goldenrod, but
here's the hack of the day.
What's that?
It's one of those things you cut a piece of pie with and you scoop it out of the pan.
Yeah.
This thing works amazing for when you're tipping your bucket up to go around the honey bucket to get the honey off the side, so you don't have to sit there and let it drain. But after running the honey, and I'm probably going to get honey everywhere. So you see all that in there?
Yeah.
That's after going through that stainless steel. That's how much junk and debris is in there. And I wish you could see it better, but that's all real micro fine particles that got caught in this strainer.
Yeah, but see, you're supposed to put that in your honey, and that's called raw honey.
Well, it'll be raw, but it won't have like I don't know varroa mites or something. And I don't, I don't know. It's got specks of everything in here, but a lot of little tiny bits of wax and stuff. And
then Phil says on the Hilco lever valve, it's $75.
$75 for the valve.
Yeah, I never looked.
I don't know. Let me see.
And Russell's uprated to one for $40. I don't know what he got. Yeah, you need to start selling, Clueless. I mean, that's, if you want nice equipment and all that, the bees can pay for it. They can pay for their feed and everything else. If anything, get yourself a bottling tank, heated bottling tank, and you won't have that problem, and you'll have a nice bunch of honey that'll flow correctly.
Highly recommend using these.
Yeah. Now, Doug Air, he's got what you got. Well, you're selling your stuff wholesale, probably the better. What's it called? Better Bee Made. And then I think you did tell me that you did have a small. Yeah, the bulk, and then you did have a small bottling tank to sell some local, to bottle up some local stuff. But
ours goes into a big holding tank. It'll hold about 14 barrels, and from there we'll put it into a bottling tank. It'll hold about 45 gallons.
45 gallons.
We'll go through two processes before
you bottle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it depends on where you're at your level at the time. And I know Darren there, you're trying to, you kind of upscaling your equipment, I guess is the best way to. Here comes the man. He'll tell you all about it. Hey, Brad.
Everybody.
Hey, Brad.
Bradley.
So,
How's everybody tonight?
oh, we're doing good. Talking about equipment and honey houses and trying to kind of scale up.
Oh,
I
I've
guess.
been listening. No, I drop in and say how's everybody tonight, but I've been listening.
Okay.
He already knows. He's just making
Sneaky.
Well, he's happy
Making
tonight.
small talk.
He's got 40 great looking hives,
Yeah.
if not more.
Yeah, got nice rural 40 hives out there, which is really great.
Yeah, you can't ask for no better friend than James McNally. That's one thing. That's a wonderful guy right there. How many miles is he live away from you? What, 800 miles or something like that?
18 hours is longer than that.
Miles. Let me quickly do some math for you so it's in
Kilometers.
context.
How many kilometers? It's 2.2 kilometers to a mile, right?
He slept for an hour, he said, something like that.
2 hours. I don't know how anybody can drive and only get 2 hours of sleep in. I couldn't do it.
Let's see. You're looking at over 1,100 miles.
Something else.
That's a
Now,
long
did you
ways.
know he was a coming, Brad?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
was this a surprise? Or sort of a
Yeah,
surprise?
no,
He was
we've
just
been working on
surprised
this
us.
for quite a few weeks, actually, because there's inspections involved.
Oh, really?
Their provincial apiarist department needs to inspect the bees. Then they need to get a permit to bring them into Manitoba, and they need to get a permit to bring them through Saskatchewan. And so there's sufficient amount of
So they
bureaucracy
basically
involved.
treat each province like a separate country almost.
Yeah, that's what I
Well,
was
as
just
far
going to
as
ask you about that. It sounds, that's what they're talking about, going across the line, or the border is you got, I
well,
think, James.
I'm listening to Darren's conversation about regulations on bottling and selling honey and stuff. It's no different really, and it's good because it's a biosecurity measure where you can't just haul things anywhere you want. You have to have some kind of checks and balances, because you don't want some disease to show up in one province and then suddenly every province has that disease. You want to have some kind of control over that. It's just biosecurity. That's all. And it's
Okay.
not an absolute mountain of red tape. It's just get the inspector out. They have a look. They write a report. You send the report to the provincial apiarist in the other two provinces, and they send you an email back saying, "Yeah, you're good."
Yeah, and I mean that's the way it is here as far as in the states. If you're moving bees from one state to the next, that your local bee inspector inspects your bees and then sends like you say, a paper or whatever stating that these bees have been inspected and all that stuff.
I guess it's probably about 3 weeks since we started talking about this idea.
I guess that's when he was talking about the inspectors were coming out and he had a couple of different little
That's right.
uh, problems there that they didn't know
Yeah.
quite sure what it was about or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So those hives that had those, I think he said in all it was 2 hives with 3 cells that there was suspect, and those were taken away. Those were not included in what was shipped. So
Let's see.
yeah,
Yeah,
So,
you kept us all in the dark.
and it was a big secret. So I had a good conversation with my PA, my provincial apiarist. I know him pretty good. He's really good guy, and I had to ask him if getting these bees is the right move, and I told him that these bees are going to an out yard that's not near my main yard. I'll be able to monitor them all summer. I'll be able to treat them if I need to in that yard. So I think the risk is low because of what was found in the hives. It's not something that has never been found in Manitoba, but it's a little more prevalent in Alberta than it is here. So I don't think it's something that something that we can't handle, and particularly because they're essentially quarantined for the summer. So I can watch them.
Well, I don't think you're going to really have any problems.
I don't expect to, but again, biosecurity is way more important than probably most of us ever give it credit for. So I mean, those are just the positives.
Right.
That I don't think I'm going to have a problem. It's certainly, if there is a problem, it's not going to take over everything, because it's quarantined over there.
Right.
James comes in, we'll have a 50-50 split. Canadians and Americans.
Yeah, James is behind the wheel.
Oh, that hasn't stopped him before.
He's about, I don't know, 10 hours or 10 or 12 hours into an 18-hour trip.
He's halfway.
Yeah, he's halfway home by now.
If he didn't stop and eat.
Yeah, so we grafted last week, so the cells that we grafted we brought to the incubator today, and I spent my day making up mating nukes for those cells, and I used Phil's on the chat there. So Phil, I used the zombie hives to make up my my mating nukes, so they came in real handy. I needed 22 mating nukes, and I didn't even get through all of the zombie hives before I had enough. So that was money in the bank right there.
And that's your queens that were, instead of dispensing them, they put them in sort of backstage and let them make the brood or whatever.
Yeah, lay a couple of frames of brood. Do your best, and then I'll just steal it.
Right.
And some of them are actually doing pretty good. Most of the nukes gave up two frames of brood, and some of them gave up a little more than that.
That's hey, look at the resources you just pulled out there. That's
I made 22 mating nukes, and I didn't even touch my production apiary.
Right.
right? I didn't touch it at all, and I didn't use it up. There's more. There's probably another dozen nukes out there to be made, at least for the next round, and there's another
And
round of queens.
so, I mean, I was watching your video where, you know, you and your wife had grafted and it was zero basically. What
One.
part
Oh, come on,
I'm like,
Charles.
okay,
One.
I'm looking at your video and I'm like, Christ, his luck is just as bad as mine. And all that. So what did James give you some pointers there that were like, you know,
Yeah,
major
basically,
turnaround?
you know, I just asked him. I said, just come and show me what you do, and then I can maybe spot what I'm not doing. And really, the difference is just temperature and humidity in the grafting, environment.
Right.
Warm towels and graft in a hot truck cab instead of my shaded apiary camper area,
Right.
which it's not going to be as warm, that kind of stuff. So that was really the biggest difference. So I still have yet to implement that on my own. So we'll see if I learned anything.
Now,
But
today
he
I
did
went
a
to,
couple graphs, demonstrating that, and the takes were very good, and the cells look really nice.
yeah, speaking of grafting, today I went and checked a few of my mating nukes. They had emerged, but there were no eggs yet. So after 3 like that, I decided I'll just close them and give them another week.
They haven't merged from your cells, Alan?
They have, like, the 3 I looked at, the queens had emerged.
Okay.
So, but I couldn't find any eggs, so I decided I'll just give them another
Well,
week.
yeah, you need at least 2 weeks for them to get mated, depending on what the conditions are in your area too. And all.
Yeah, there's been like a few days of rain every for the past 2 weeks, like 2 or 3 days out of 7. So it's not
Yeah.
ideal mating conditions.
Yeah, it'll take you longer, I presume. So, well, I'm glad to see that you got bees, Brad, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
queen
too.
and what do you got? You say 20 possible new hives as far as with queens and all mating boxes.
Well, those 22 were what my wife and I grafted. We ended up having a good take the second round.
Right.
So we got 20, 22, 21 the second round, plus the one that we did the day before. That was almost a complete bust. But there's more in the finisher. There's actually, James did a graft yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's still in the starter. And then there's a bunch of cells in the finisher too, which look really good. You'll see some of that on the vlog in the morning. Actually, I put a video out today about grafting.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to look at it today. But so what do you got, about 40 cells and what James grafted or
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I've lost count. There's quite
Well,
a few.
but I mean he's got a 30 or 40 he grafted probably and put in your cell builder.
He was starting off slow because he was not sure how much he could tax my cell starter.
Okay.
So he was only doing, I think he did 16. 16 the first round.
Right.
And then yesterday we did a whack of cells. We did 45 in there.
And all that. Yeah. Okay.
And I looked at those today. And honestly, I don't remember what I found. There was only a couple of misses, I think. Out of that 45, I think there was 42 out of 45 takes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, good for takes, but we'll have to see how they feed them up. Is it too many cells for that builder? It's a pretty good builder, but still 45 cells is a lot.
Yeah.
When we
Now
put in just 16 cells, they fed them really well.
So you leave them, go in there and leave them until they cap, and then take them over to the incubator. Is that how
I'm
you
not very
do it?
regimented with it, to be honest. I take them out when I want to graft again, mostly, but I
Huh.
don't normally leave them in there more than 2 to 3 days, and I can take them out in 24 hours. So it kind of has a little more to do with when I want to graft again.
Right.
I
I mean, some
understand that
people are doing 24 or 48 where they're still open, and you can put them in a self finisher and
I use
do
a
it.
self finisher. I use a queen right self finisher, and that's so that I can cycle my self starter faster.
Okay.
Because a self finisher doesn't really use any resources out of your apiary at all. Queenless self starter does. It uses a lot of nurse bees and a lot of brood and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff from your apiary. So it pulls a lot of resource out of your apiary for the self starter. And so I figure that the faster I can cycle that, the better. And I can run multiple queen right self finishers in my apiary because there's nothing special about those. It's just a nice strong double, and they finish cells really nicely.
Yeah. I've not did it that way. I've always left them in there, capped the cells off, and then transferred them to an incubator and let them do it that way. And then this year I had planned on putting in virgin queens, letting them walk in. And I actually did some of that this year, and it works just fine.
Oh, it did work for you. Good.
Yeah, it did.
That's something James was asking me about because he's not had good success with that, so I'm not sure. But we talked about, I told him everything I could tell him that I'm doing, and he's doing everything I'm doing, so I don't know how to help him with it.
Yeah, I mean, now some folks put a virgin in a cage and slow release and all that, and I've had them where I just take them and just let them walk on in, and that's it.
I just
And
dump them out on the top bar.
Yeah, dump them out on top bar and be done with it.
Yeah,
and it works fine for me.
It's worked for 2 years that I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And one of the nice things that I really like about that is they're in my incubator, and once they come out of the cell, I can mark them right away. So they're really easy to mark at that point, and then I just stick them in a JCBZ cage and walk to the apiary and dump them on the top bar.
Yeah, I don't know. I marked some of my queens there that came through the winter, and they were the ones I had problems going queenless on me. I don't know whether I changed the pheromone smell of that queen or just what. I know I didn't, get her antennas or anything like that. And also,
Charlie, we've heard that from a number of people, and I think after I really got to thinking about it, I was wondering if it was a mixture that made the yellow.
yeah, turn your mic up some more, Mike.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was a mixture of pigments or whatever they used to make that particular yellow, that shade of yellow.
Well, it's a Posco pen, but I was just wondering because there was if I marked 5, 4 of them took a hike on me. So that's what I can't quite figure out.
I don't think I've ever noticed a problem, but if you're still using a Posca pen, Charlie, try a competitive advantage pen.
I got the ones that Bob sell. Is that the ones you're talking about?
Yep.
I think that's what Bob's selling. Yeah,
Mhm.
way nicer, and they last way longer on the queen.
So
way easier to use as well.
Why? Because the tip's better or something, or just
I don't know. The tip is all that much different, but it might be just the viscosity or something like that.
okay.
But I find that it's pretty easy to use. The Poscas seem to, and the competitive advantage will flood if you're not careful, but the Poscas seem to flood a whole lot more than the
Yeah, I
competitive
usually
advantage
take when I get one. I take like on my wristlet of my glove or whatever. I just kind of dab it on that to kind of get it just to where it ain't flooding on there and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I do
Um,
exactly the same thing. I'll just dab it on the side of the box or something. But
Yeah.
I've noticed the Posca. Sometimes you shake a Posca and you shake it and there's paint everywhere.
Yeah. Now there was one time years ago, several years back, and um, they, anyway, what I marked this beautiful queen, and she died in so many seconds. And what happened is I was marking queens. I laid the Posco pin on my truck seat, and there was sun coming down on that truck seat,
You cooked her.
and that pin it felt warm, and
Oh, was it
I
hot
think
ink?
I cooked her.
Wow.
Where that ink was, it was warm to us but hot to them, and I dabbed her, and within it's like that she's gone, dead.
Ouch. Oh, that's too
And
bad. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's a good lesson
yeah.
to know.
And ever since then, I make sure I usually have a towel, a hand towel on my seat. What I usually do is I'm not much on. I'll have a queen marking cage, and I'll mark her. So then I'll want her to dry. I cover her up with that towel, keep her in the dark so she's not trying to get between the slits and all that stuff. And then I also make sure that pin is in a dark shaded area, and so it doesn't get hot. And then he's up in New Jersey, England. What's his first name? Is it Jeff England? No, he was at Hive Life.
What?
What's
Excuse
that,
me,
Todd?
Brad. One of those. Once those pins flood out, can't you just? Well, you're pretty much done using that pin for a couple hours because don't you have to turn it upright and let it drain back in? It takes forever to get out of the tip, or is it done?
I don't know. Well, no, a Posca pen, I've had them flood like you touch the tip or you press the tip a little bit, and just I've had paint just come shooting out of them. They're not ruined. Once you kind of get it dried up a little bit, you can still use it.
You got to remember, Todd, that Posco pin, that tip kind of retracts into the barrel that kind of like soak up. It's like going into an ink well.
It's like opening a valve and lets.
Yeah. And I think once you kind of turn it up, you might maybe wipe that tip off a little bit. Then it's just got enough ink on there to do the queen just right.
The competitive advantage pen really is exactly the same in that regard. I just don't find that they flood like the Posca pens can flood. I haven't had that kind of problem. I've had them get a little drippy, if you get too much paint in the tip, but not like a Posca pen. Those are brutal. And the paint itself, it's a different paint. It stays on that queen far longer than the Posca paint.
The pens I use, I just found it like I typed it in the chat, but it's a 48 pack of random paint pens I got on Amazon.
Yeah.
And like there's colors I can't use like purple or silver, but it was cheaper than the Posca pack of the 5 colors, and never had a problem with the queens being rejected. And
that's another advantage to competitive advantage. Pens is they're way cheaper than Posca pens.
Yeah, what are they, Bob? You got a set of them.
On my site, $19.99 for a set of 5.
For the set,
$4 a pen.
Set of about 7 or 8 anywhere else, and I think they're like $18 up in Canada.
Well, 10, I think.
10.
Yeah, and the pack has several shades of each color, so
you can get very creative.
He's trying to steal my sales right now. Stop it!
That's right. Get your pens at Bob Walker's website. What's it called again?
I did.
Bewares.
Get your pens at Bewares.
Or Amazon, because I'm the only one that sells competitive advantage on Amazon as well.
Hey, Sharon.
Just don't order from Canada on Amazon because I lose money.
I'm really surprised that I look on Amazon for those pens and they're just not there.
I could try and find the ones I had ordered. If you will give me a few minutes.
You didn't get the message?
Buy your pens at Beewares.
That's right. I still
Yep.
had. I've actually done pretty well with them because this box was entirely full. I had 75 sets of them, and I don't know, probably half,
And-
right? So I probably sold.
See, that's smart. Now, is the manufacturer selling you the beekeeper set, or are
Yes,
you making
it
that up
comes-
yourself?
It comes just like that.
Yep.
So it's a beekeeper set. That's awesome.
So,
Well, now don't you get the individual pins and then they give you those?
okay, I've ordered them 3 times. The first time it was just boxes of pins. The second time it was boxes of pins and a stack of these things, the envelopes. And now it was just a box with a bunch of these packs of Ziploc bags with pins in them. So they've
Beautiful.
done it different every time I've ordered. So,
And when you order pins from Bob, make sure to add a packet or 2 of Apis.
right. And swarm lure and honey rough.
Swarm lure.
Correct.
Just order everything. I
One
got
of each.
carousel, mic shake cups,
That's right.
Hive tools, whatever you need.
Yeah, Bob, my neighbor, he ordered his suppositories through his site there, and he loves them.
He ordered what?
Did you say suppositories?
Mike's the only one on the channel that hadn't ordered anything from me.
I think that's a queen cup, Mike. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Queen Cup Depository.
So, Mike, what you had that video about the fire up there? What was that? A neighbor's house or your place or what?
Yeah, it was 3 streets to the west on the peninsula here, and honestly, I got excited at first because I'm working here, and I thought I started hearing boom, boom, and I thought thunder, and I looked out, and there's like dark skies. I actually thought, oh man, we're getting rain. How is this happening? No, we think that somebody might have been burning some leaves under it. I just can't believe that they do that. And then a
Around
ground wash.
pine trees.
Well, yeah. The white pines up here are so high up but that was a big concern of ours. It would actually get up to the pine tree canopy, and then it would just take out the whole peninsula. But those were 20-pound LP tanks that were cooking off. And the interesting thing was that they actually had a full-size house LP tank there, which I don't really understand why.
They're 450 pounds, ain't they?
I think this one might have been a skosh bigger, but I didn't realize that they were designed to incrementally purge.
Yeah, well,
So-
it blows off when they get hot like that. I fought. We
Please.
trained on them where you bring two hose lines in like that,
Yeah.
and you go in and you blow that far away from those valves, and you reach in there and turn the valve off. If it's
Yeah. Yeah. Who was the guy? John Wayne played him in the movie Red Gadare or whatever, the oil man.
oh, you mean the oil thing?
Yeah, the old one. Yeah. So you're doing the crossfire thing. Well, you couldn't get close to this. The tank was in
No,
the
this
middle
is
of the
for
fire.
propane. This is a propane thing where they would
Yeah.
train
I
on that,
was.
where the bottle would be, the valve would be open, and it was blowing fire, and you take your nozzles, your two stream nozzles, and come in and you blow that fire away, so you can reach in there and turn that valve off.
Well, the fun
It's-
part was that this thing wasn't the valve wasn't opening. The
No,
pressure,
it was
that was-
pressure release valve was
Yeah,
up because it was
pressure valve,
building up too much pressure, and then it would blow off and then light. And
And
I
then
watched
seal
the
up
video.
and,
I seen what was going on. I'm like, uh-oh. I said, I said, that's a time bomb right there, real quick.
well,
if
yeah, okay.
if it breaches.
Yeah, so that diagram thing purged about a dozen times, and then finally just opened up. And by that time, there wasn't much left in there. But the way the design to do that was just absolutely incredible. I mean, just blowing off steam, it ignites, it gets back down to pressure, and keeps doing that. And but we were, by the grace of God, I mean, it didn't get up in the pine tree canopy, so we were lucky. But the number of neighbors that just showed up out of the blue with their garden hoses and started hooking up to other people's cabins around, that's what kept that fire from going any further. So that was yeah, we've got a pretty good group up here on the beach, but that was a pant wetter, and then the fire department didn't get here for about 30 minutes. Then they're running tankers back and forth from our dock, and you know, it's just it got hairy, and it's so dry
I'm
here.
glad somebody over there got hairy because you sure didn't.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, wait a second! I told you that I waxed my legs in confidence, Bob.
It's that
Okay. I really don't understand why you're asking for pictures to prove that, but that's kind of weird. But
that's for
So,
the
Well,
but
I seen the one guy there he was, using that little old garden hose on that there boat thing there. And then I seen the
Yeah.
firefighter come over there with his stream and started, watering it down.
yeah, he got he kept the from running through the grass, and otherwise Steve Rhodes would have lost his pontoon, and it was just pretty hairy, but
Yeah. Was
kind
that
of
an abandoned cabin or was that somebody lived there?
No, that's about a 350 square foot fisherman's cabin. But the property right next to it, they had all these campers. This guy just likes collecting campers. He keeps the place immaculate. In fact, he's got one or two gravity-fed gas pumps out there. Didn't have any gas in them, but he just collects these things. Takes immaculate care of it. Well, shit, he lost all that. So and all for
Yeah,
one.
those old gravity fed things, they're antique, highly sought after.
Oh yeah. So that got out of the. Yeah, there's a couple kids that.
There you go, Tim. You had a blevy. That was boiling liquid of expansion vapor explosion. That's where
really?
if that big tank would have ruptured, they call that a blevy. I'm sure Tim probably watched the same movie that I watched, where it showed all that stuff. And but that was where you had, let's say, like a tank farm, that had a LP gas thing. It had maybe 1,000, like a tractor and trailer tanker.
Yeah.
And it ruptured, and
You get that ground wash?
now you just get looks like an atom bomb just took off. Is what it amount to. Yeah, it's the fireball is just beyond imaginable.
Yeah,
and it'll get you too if you're anywhere as close.
man.
So
that's crazy. Did you get a spot of rain today, Charlie?
a little bit. I got some sprinkles and showers later this afternoon, but it's been hit and miss. It hasn't been really downpours, but it's been enough to where it's at least the ground's getting some water and the grass and stuff is growing and all that, and along with the field crops.
Good. So you got a little bit there. We might actually get an inch and a quarter of rain here this weekend, and we have not gotten a full inch total in the last 2 months. That's how dry it is here. So I hope all you guys have got something a little bit moisture up there. Doug, Todd, Brad, Alex, Darren, everybody except for Bob, who doesn't.
Oh, I have plenty of rain here.
Bob has got oodles and oodles of rain, more so than what we did. They were calling for a lot more rain here, but it seemed like it's going out into the Atlantic Ocean.
They did a whole video on the flood in my front yard.
He's been wishing he'd have sowed rice instead of buckwheat.
See, I know, right? I could have just made it into a rice paddy.
Yeah.
But I do have buckwheat still sprouting. So
we actually got a little bit of rain. I don't know how much rain it was, but we got a little bit of rain yesterday morning. And yeah, like you say, Mike, I don't think before that we had an inch since winter.
I've been wondering about going there for you.
Brutal.
Doug, how's the weather there for you?
Yeah, we've only had about an inch since the crops went in here too.
Okay. And Lee's getting heat down there. Yeah. So
we're gonna get 90 tomorrow.
Yeah, Mike, you're talking about hellfighters.
Thank you.
But now what Tim's talking about, he's exactly right. We trained with 2 streams coming in with a guy in the middle to go in and turn the valve off and all. Yeah.
Charlie, was you the guy holding the hose, or did you have to go in and turn the valve? Which guy?
Nah, I always did the hose. I like the hose. You give me a narrow pattern there, and that was fun.
Yeah.
That was
No,
fun.
when that first purge started going off, there was an oak tree there that I don't know if you could see in the film, but it was about 3 or 4 feet in diameter, and I kind of did one of these so that step behind it. If that thing can like blow that tree over, then I'm dead anyways. But yeah, I'd hold the hose here too, Charlie. You know, young and immortal we are not.
No, but they were the fun days.
Oh, amen. Absolutely. That's but the one street the cabin that was immediately behind that thing by maybe about, I don't know, 40 yards had vinyl siding on it. The operative word is had vinyl siding.
Oh yeah. I've been on a fire so where
You've seen those.
Well, actually on this one house fire, the gas grill with 20-pound cylinder on it caught on fire, and I guess it just kind of blew up or whatever, and it had vinyl siding on the house, and it was like, it's just
Yeah.
all weeped down like spaghetti.
It looks
And,
like a marshmallow that melted.
That was it for that.
Yeah.
It was like, throw it away.
Yeah, it's out there. But kind of a fun thing, Russell Cooperman is he's finally got his passport. He's going to drive from western Minnesota and come here. I don't know if he's had all the shots, and we have to have him checked for rabies. But then we're going to have a couple of the Hives for Heroes guys come down, and so there's going to be 3 or 4 of us here. We invited Matt and Sarah. Matt said, "Oh, I just made plans." Well, okay, that's okay, but we're going to be messing around here a bit, and then go visit Troy, the commercial beekeeper on the outside of the lake, and then probably swing over by the wood mill so those guys can see all the craziness there. But just a shout out for that, because I think we're finally going to start filming stuff again. So
I got a question for you guys. Humidors. I know they control humidity, but do they also control temperature?
The good ones do. The really, really, really good ones, and usually their whole room. That's it. Otherwise, they don't need to.
All right. There's someone selling a humidor, but it's not your regular humidor. It's a. You watch Doctor Who?
I
Add it in, Charlie.
Oh, what is that? I was going to try and do the dialect voice.
It's a TARDIS humidor?
Kill Bob!
It's a red telephone booth humidor. But I was thinking that would be a good-looking honey warming cabinet.
I thought you were going to use it for queen grafting. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
So you can just put a heat lamp in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Heated and control humidity.
Yikes.
Unique.
So, Mike, when is your gathering down there? I didn't catch when you're having that.
Wednesday.
Oh,
the guys
Wednesday.
Right Wednesday. 2 of them are Veterans Hives for Heroes guys.
Right on. Way to go.
Yeah, so it's going to be a kind of a fun thing there. But I had a question for you, Brad. Once you got all those hives that James brought over, you transfer them all over to your own equipment?
That's right.
And how long did it take you to do that? What time of day were you? How'd that work out? I couldn't
it went
watch
smooth as butter. It was great.
It looked like it.
I think it took us about 4 hours.
That's not bad.
Something like that. No, I kind of, when I looked at that, I thought, gee, 40 hives of bees. I might have to split that into 2 days or something. But, it's just 2 guys that kind of done that kind of thing before. And there's not a lot of wasted steps and whatnot. So it went really well.
And all the hijinks that were going on in between, probably.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching that video Brad? Is that where it looked like to me that maybe James was showing you the queen on the frame or whatever it was before they put it in the box?
Tilly.
Yeah, he was. We looked at the first few a little more carefully, you know,
Mhm.
because he was wanting to get an idea of if they had difficulty on the trip, you know, if maybe some of the queens have been damaged or anything like that. So we looked at a few of them, and probably we looked at all of them a little more than we needed to, but still, you know, we wanted to make sure there was
Mm.
milk brood or eggs or something
Right.
in there.
And he was saying in the video that he had something in there to stabilize the frames from swinging around in transport. Where they have a stick.
Yeah,
or
what did he
something
do
there.
with that?
What was that?
He just put it was 2 pieces of plywood that he cut. I don't remember the dimensions. Maybe it was just 3/4 inch square. The length equaled kind of just less than the width of the box, if you can imagine that. So it went across the frames, kind of over near the end bars. Just
Oh,
so that then the lid, like the difference was the space between the cover and the top bars. So
So
there
it
was
kind of
no space there.
smashed the bars down and kind of locked them down.
That's right.
So they
Yeah.
wouldn't do this.
So they won't swing. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Okay.
that's what they do in transport. And his equipment is fairly new. So it all kind of locked together like that. Really nice. And then, you know, of course, everything then he strapped onto the trailer. And so the lids were held down real tight. And yeah. So yeah, it was a good idea.
Hey, Chad. Good to meet you. I think it must be your first time here. Welcome.
Hey, Bob, is that Stream 10? Is that discount code good for any product you have, or is that just?
Yeah, it's anyone on there.
How long does that go on for?
As long as
Tonight.
you're watching the stream, yeah.
the next 5 minutes, the first 80
Oh,
callers.
it just ended.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just ended. No, I'm just kidding.
Batteries not included while supplies last. Limited time only.
You have to talk really fast when you say those.
Who's that guy? The humbucker pickup. The guitarist actually made that album. He got a yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's it. Looked like a pretty. I honestly, Brad, if somebody showed up and dropped 20 hives off here, they wouldn't be able to film me for about 20 minutes. I'd be bawling.
Well, you know, if it was just show up, I might have. I had 3 weeks.
Oh,
to get
you did
used to
have a
the
little bit
idea.
of. Okay.
Yeah, we had to put that together. There was bureaucratic logistics because we were crossing 2 provincial boundaries.
That's what you were. Okay.
Different jurisdictions and whatnot. So there's inspections and permits and stuff
Mhm.
involved. But yeah, I'm still kind of don't believe it, but
No.
and it's 40. It's 40, not 22.
Oh, thank you.
It's 40. Yeah.
Yeah, Chad says he's been watching us for a year. I haven't been doing it for a year. It's been, what was it? New Year's Eve was I started. No, it's only been 6 months as far as the live stream. I probably maybe watching my videos, but welcome anyway. And if you want to come on and introduce yourself and whatever, that's fine too.
Yeah, and Charlie, how's that contract with Netflix going? Are you going to get that one?
Netflix. I don't have any contract with Netflix. No, I got monetized, but I haven't got all that set up yet. I've been busy with the bees, and my biggest problem this year is my sciatic nerve problem. But it is diminishing. I've been going to the gym and doing certain types of machine.
Good for you.
Doing the certain type of exercises that I know that has helped me in the past, and there's diminishing the pain issues and stuff like that. But that's the biggest problem about constant achy pain is that it just debilitates your energy level, and you don't feel like doing anything beyond. You get through work, and then it's like, I'm done. I don't want to do anything anymore, and it's still doing that here lately. Hey, there's James. He's leaving
Saskatoon.
Saskatoon.
Saskatoon. I love hearing Americans say Saskatchewan and Saskatoon.
Is that how that is? Saskatchewan? I thought it would have a Y in there or something like that.
Saskatoon. Saskatoon is the city. Saskatchewan is the province.
Okay.
I want to give James a little bit of crap here about what as far as you have to drive to get to McDonald's in Canada, but I can't. It's just, I don't know. I'm still just in awe of the two of you guys pulling that off. That was just a grand thing. So
yeah, James was able to do something that we all would have liked to done. Send up some nukes or something from across the
They don't want
border.
our crappy American nukes. What are you talking about?
Well, Charlie, I'll just say I hope that clears up for you. I've had that pain, and that's not good. And I hear what you're saying. You have something like that, and there's no real relief in sight, and it starts to get it in here. It really affects a guy.
Yeah.
Mentally,
well, I mean, I went to my chiropractor, and he worked on me for like a couple of weeks, and he said, I don't know what else to do, and all that, and so I got busy with my son when we were, getting hay and stuff in for 2 weeks, and then in the meantime, one day, I don't know when it was, I went and there's a gym, what's it called, Planet Fitness, which is the cheapest one around. And it had the machines that I needed that I knew I used to use. And so went there yesterday evening and worked out. And every time I go, I can tell it's diminishing, like in the hip area, the pain. And then for some reason, the nerve goes down your leg and it's like around my ankle area.
Yeah.
The skin is like tingly, burning, or just it's like you fell and skinned your leg, and it's that tenderness. And it's starting after yesterday. I could see that's diminished a little bit more, and stuff like that. I did get some pills from my regular doctor to do muscle relaxer, and it also kind of makes you sleep at night good. And that's another thing. You go through and you can't sleep because of the kind of a dull gnaw ache pain.
Yeah.
And then the next day you get up and you're just as tired as you went when you went to bed.
Yeah.
Did you get that stabbing pain, Charlie, when that would flare up? That's what would happen to me. I'd be laying in bed and I could feel it like my leg was tingly, and I knew it was going to happen. And maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up. I actually woke up the first time it happened, and I was like looking in my bed. I thought I didn't know what was in. I thought bees. I thought something stung me. It was bad. It was real bad. It felt like I got
mine. If I tried to move and move my leg, it was like it's like this burst of electrical impulse.
Yeah. That's
just grab you. And then one night I got up and it's like a Charlie horse, where the whole leg went in spasm.
Yeah.
I had to get up and kind of walk it off and all. But anyway, we got some medicine for those bad nights where I've overdid it during the daytime, and it calmed things down. And
yeah, DC's got it. That it's. I'm no doctor either, but my impression of it is, from the doctors, is he says it's actually the muscle that's keying on the nerve, so the problem is in the lower back or the hip area, and all the pain is in the leg. Like the pain is displaced.
It's deriving from the lower back.
Yeah.
Now, Todd there really helped me out, where he sent me some videos. Is that your chiropractor? Is that video made by him?
No. I saw those on YouTube. I knew what I was needing to, do, and that's what I found.
Well, what I did was Todd sent me some videos of this chiropractor, and he was explaining how to do certain types of exercises. And then I clicked on the one he was explaining what is causing it. And it's like you said, Brad, he was explaining that the ligaments in your SI joint area that holds that joint together, you sprain them and you make them more, not tight. and then your muscles react and start clamping down to keep the joint in, but in turn, it's pinching your nerve. Actually, there's four
Oh, yeah.
nerves that come out of your back that goes. I think they all come together the way the picture shows, and it goes down your leg. So I'm thinking about. I says, okay, and I've had this years ago, and I used to go to the gym quite a bit in the past, and this is where I use the abduction machine, where most of the women get on them, and you raise the weights by spreading your legs or pulling your legs in, and that takes and strengthens those ligaments in that area, especially around. I used to have a lot of L3, 4, and 5 lumbar area vertebrae that would always get out, and you'd have that belt line back pain. And I started doing those machines and those exercises over a period of time, and it built up the strength in them ligaments to hold all that stuff in place. And then it diminished any lower back pains and stuff. And I probably have done. I've used the machines, I'll say 4 or 5 times here in the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks at the most. And every time I go there and do it, it's diminishing and diminishing, as the ligaments are getting stronger and tighter to keep the joint in place. And then went to the chiropractor yesterday, and I said, look, I've been down this road so much, I can tell what's wrong. And most of the time I can tell the chiropractor, well, L4 is out or L5 is out or whatever, because I've done it for so many years. And she put it back. She worked on me, kind of got it back in place. And you could tell it was diminished after she worked on you as far as the pain levels. And then I went and worked out yesterday evening, which seemed to help quite a bit. So
you better watch out, Charlie. Lynn just ordered some Apis.
Yeah, I was telling her, I was talking to her about it and stuff.
Charlie, I want to tell you about a product that my wife discovered. It's called a Serola belt, Serola. And I think that's the guy's name who developed this.
Uh-huh.
And your description of what you're dealing with is, I believe, exactly what it helps with. And it's just a compression belt that you wear around your hips.
Mm-hmm. I've heard about that.
I use that.
Did you talk about that?
I use that.
Yeah,
It absolutely works. I don't use it all the time. But just
spell that again, Brad. What is it?
Just the way it sounds. Serola.
The muscle group that you want, the muscle that you want to concentrate on, or the one that's giving me problems, and I think Charlie, is the gluteus medius. The gluteus medius is on the side of your hip, right there where the piriformis is at. And it's above I believe it's on top of the piriformis, but that's the muscle that helps you kind of move sideways or to bring you back up. If it's weak, you get a lot of compression on nerves from different areas in your back.
And I think, and you obviously know what you're talking about, and I don't, but this belt is worn very low, like it's worn kind of almost across your butt.
Yeah.
And it just gives a little bit of compression there. And
yeah.
Literally, if I have any of that pain, literally I put that belt on, it is gone instantly. And I have worn it all day, and it does get a little irritating after a while, but you can wear it a number of hours. You can wear it under your clothes or over your clothes, whatever you choose.
So what you guys, Charlie's talking about the doing the abdominal chair thing. Yeah, I talked to I said over the winter, there was a doctor who was explaining, he said this like 9 times out of 10 when people have back problems, one of the problems is that the muscles right next to the spine have atrophied. And he's a big fan of the Roman chair, which is kind of like a horizontal version of what you're doing, but basically you're laying on a table with your entire hips on for the rest of your body hanging off the edge, and you just sag down and it stretches you, and then you lift up, and then it's strengthening. And as you're lifting up, it's strengthening those muscles. So you're stretching and strengthening at the same time. I know some people it's just about impossible to find a gym that's got a Roman chair. In fact, when I did something like that here, I'd actually just put some straps on my legs on the table and do that. But for everybody, it's like, oh God, these old guys are talking about backaches. Well, guess what, folks? We're in the messing with bees, and you have to move boxes, and it's going to happen to you. It's not a matter of, if, it's going to be when. So
Yeah, loaders, get loaders.
yeah.
My
So,
back went out
you
when
know,
I reached for a frame, and I picked up a frame that was half drawn out. My back went out. That's how. But I was.
That's when it
twisting.
happens, isn't it, Todd? When
Yep.
when you're not going to lift something heavy and you don't prepare for it,
Yep.
you think, "Oh, this is easy." You don't think about that, but it's just like, I'm going to pick this thing up, and it's, oh no,
bing.
yeah,
yeah, or you're doing a twisting motion, where you turn around on a twist to grab it. And then because of that twisting motion, that's the same motion your chiropractor uses to put it back in.
Yep.
And all that. And that was my problem when I was like 20 years old. I picked up all these boards, little dinky boards, and I'm doing that
What's that twisting motion?
I'm doing that twisting motion, and ever since that day after it went out, it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Once you do it the first time, you're done.
Yep.
I apologize, but I got the rescue vehicles over at my neighbors here, so I'm gonna go on over and see what's going on. Y'all have a good night, a great weekend.
All right, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Bless your bees. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Mikey. See ya. But
There's
That's
another
fine.
muscle. There's another muscle that's very important. It's called the quadratus lumborum muscle, and it's like a tri-muscle. So it attaches to the top of your pelvis, then it shoots off to your spine, but then it also goes up to the 12th rib. So it kind of keeps everything compacted. If that gets stressed or strained, your back is a mess.
I think I've had that once. Like my back would hurt for like a month on one side. Then I took something to relax the muscles, and it went away instantly, like in one night.
I had the reverse problem where that muscle locks up, and what it does is it's pulling my 12th rib down, and it hurts like hell. It's like a bad tooth. Well, Bob might know this. It's like a bad toothache that doesn't go away. And you have to stretch it, and eventually it unlocks itself. But
that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
12th rib.
Yeah,
How high is that?
Lynn's talking about inversion table, and I had a lot of people tell me about them things.
12th rib is probably 6, 8 inches above your pelvis.
Okay. Yeah, mine was higher. Maybe? Mine was almost under the shoulder blade.
Oh, that's
that's the rhomboid
making
muscle.
me feel young. All this bad back talk.
I had that. That was another thing. That was another thing up there at the chiropractor. I said, that rhomboid muscle is like a knot underneath your shoulder blade. And it's a muscle that it goes through another muscle like that. And she said, "What have you been doing? Painting?" I says, "No, I've been using the untapping knife going like that."
Yeah. And I get it. And that's my extracting. It's I got an automatic uncapper, but I have a radial extractor. So all of the frames come out of the capping table, twist, and into the extractor. So it twists back and forth, right?
Back and forth, repetitive motion.
Yeah, exactly. Like thousands of times over 3 weeks or so. But mine's not like, it's not under the shoulder blade. It's lower from the shoulder blade. It's under that, but it's to the right of the spine. It kind of seems like something rib related is why Todd's comment about rib.
You might have what's called a rib head out, which has happened to me before, and it's not fun either. But what it is the head of that rib that's next to your spine, it will kind of come out of position, and it has to be adjusted and put back in. And it hurts when it goes back in.
It's definitely gotten better. It's not nearly what it was. So
it'll eventually work its way back, but when it's out, you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty painful there for a while. It was painful for 2 or 3 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But we keep doing what we're doing, so we might as well expect it to come back, right?
Yeah,
Unless we get a hive lifter, right, Charlie?
that's
Yeah.
right. Got to get a
There you
hive
go.
lifter. I got my the young man that I've been mentoring here. He texted me. I think it was yesterday. He said, "Well, he's available Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon." I said, "That's good because we'll pull some more honey."
He's your hive lifter.
Yeah, he's my hive lifter this year.
Now, don't be ruining somebody else's back, Charlie.
I hope you offer medical coverage.
Well, I'm off. I've been teaching him how to keep his bees, and he's doing quite well. So he offered. So anyway, but that's doing the hive lifting for me right now.
And that's that repetitive you're talking about, Charlie. That's, to me, that's what gets me. It's not, I'll look at something I shouldn't lift and I'll lift it sometimes. That's usually not my big problem, because like you say, Todd, you look at something heavy and you think about it and you get behind it and you use perhaps the muscle groups you should be, but that repetitive stuff, that's the killer. I mean, I spent 20 years behind a desk, and the kind of injuries you get behind a desk is unbelievable. I'm behind a desk.
Sitting's not good.
It's sitting and my right arm and my right hand with the mouse work and stuff. Just that same thing, like that. Millions and millions.
We all
of
got to go
times.
to Lynn's house. She's got a foam roller and an inversion table. Sounds relaxing to me.
What's funny was years ago, somebody, when I was much younger, somebody told me that they came to work and his neck was all cramped up on him and everything. He said he thought he twisted his neck in bed or hurt himself in bed, and I started laughing. Like, how do you do that when you're sleeping? But I woke now.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I woke up and couldn't move my head. My neck was all stiff or my back's hurting.
The stuff we used to do when we were kids, and we could do anything.
I
We
can't
could
even
jump off
now, foot
buildings
off the
and
ground.
crash our bike.
That reminds me, I wanted to talk to Bob about his ladder, because when that camera went down to look at that ladder, I thought, oh man, he's gonna fall off that thing.
I thought the same.
That was their
live
ladder.
too.
Crazy.
I was like, oh, hotel, they'll have a ladder that can get up here for sure.
They should have a scissor lift.
So I brought my ladder when I retrieved the box. So
ladders are meant to stand on the ground. Don't ever forget
all four
that.
legs too.
Yeah, now those scissors lift. I see those guys, in buildings, and they're those little narrow jobs, and I'm like, man, I said, you don't have outriggers or nothing on them things, and I'm like, you're not catching me up on that darn thing. I'm scared of that. We can hurt.
Oh, years ago, I bought a whole big set of scaffolding. If I ever need to get up high on anything, fat guys and ladders don't mix. I set up the scaffolding, man.
No. So, but how's everything with your bees and stuff, Todd? Everything. What are you doing with your bees right now?
I mean, while I was cooking last night, I was listening, and I commented when I could about what Apis has done to my colonies. I've never had so many bees in my boxes this time of year. I mean, they're packed.
Is that Apis Biologic at work?
Correct. The biocontrol. Yeah, I got it. Order it from Bob's website. He carries it. So, but it's amazing what kind of shape they're in. Now I'm solidly in a dearth right now because I don't think the tallow trees are doing anything, and I know the glossy privet trees aren't. Some are flowering and some aren't. So,
all I know is I pulled about a super of honey and set it on my tailgate, and I was going back to work another hive, and I think every bee in the apiary was on those boxes trying.
Well, that tells you there's no flow.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
and I had the same thing when I open up some of those because I still have some queen excluders and some supers above it, and they're putting some small quantities of stuff in there, but as soon as I take that box off, boy, it's like the dinner bell rang, and everybody in the bee yards after it. So But otherwise, they're doing good. I'm going to get ready to put strips on them and start with my varroa treatments.
I got myself an air blower to go along with the. I made some fume boards. They work pretty well. But we're still too many bees, so I got my hand on a battery powered air blower, like a powerful one. Get rid of as many bees as possible because neighbors, when I bring back the supers to my apartment, don't like having bees buzzing around.
Yeah, they love honey. That's for sure. When
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not theirs.
My neighbor's spoiled rotten with honey. I gave him some let's see, at least like for his birthday, I gave him some. For Christmas, I gave him some spiced honey with habaneros and ghost peppers. I gave him some what's it called? The black honey, the buckwheat honey. He also buys from me, but I give him as much as he buys. That makes me pretty popular with him.
Keep him happy.
I just saw an F700 truck for $6,500 flatbed.
There you go, Alex.
That would be nice.
F700.
I just don't have the 6,500. Maybe by the end of summer, like if I have a good flow, and it's looking like it's going to be a good flow again, because basswood is crazy, I might be able to afford something.
So, Alex, you said your basswood's just getting ready to go.
Yeah, I looked at the buds today, and they were significantly bigger. So my guess is a week, maybe 2.
Okay.
And it's gonna go, and it's gonna start, and it's gonna rain again like 4 days this week. It's gonna rain a little tomorrow. Then Sunday it's gonna be sunny. Then I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday it's gonna rain. So if this pattern keeps up, once the basswood blooms, I hope I have enough supers. I should.
How long will that last you?
2-3 weeks. Last year it lasted just over 2 weeks, and they drew just over 2 and filled just over 2 medium supers. So this year's what I'm doing is I'm giving them all my deep comb that's intended to go to my splits. So they're gonna draw the deeps for my splits, so it gives them less work to do before winter. I'll just extract the honey and give the splits the comb. So that way, and if that should, even then, I should have regular like medium supers drawn on top of that. Like last year, it wasn't particularly rainy, and it drew over 2 supers and filled 2 supers and started a third. So when basswood goes, it goes fire hose.
Yeah, it's just starting here for me, but like 30 miles south of me, it's already in full bloom, and it's funny how just a few miles can make such a big
Well,
difference.
pretty far north from you, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Because 2 weeks ago, I noticed the buds. Last week, I didn't go because all the big work was done. It was raining, and it was Father's Day. And I checked again this morning to see if the queens were laying. And well, the buds were still growing.
Well, what other honey flow have you got another honey flow running right now, Alex?
I do. It's nowhere near as big. I don't know what kind of flower though. There is quite a bit of clover I noticed on the highway. Well, the road, not a highway. I noticed a few, like the patches of small yellow flowers. I think they're marigolds, and it's hard
Does
to
the
say. I don't know like the other main flows. And the farmer has not planted the pumpkins yet. So, well, it's spaghetti squash he cultivates.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether nectar comes out of them or not. Or is that just a pollination thing?
No, squash does make honey.
I don't think pumpkins do they? I
Yes,
thought
they do.
Yeah.
Pumpkin honey apparently is pretty good. Never tasted it, or never much of it. But if I didn't notice any seedlings, so he hasn't planted yet. So that could be a good source of nectar because it's a pretty big field. Brad saw it, and Bob, I showed them an image a while back. So I might get a full pumpkin flow after the basswood.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not terribly big. Like
Ziggy says
my strongest hives have drawn maybe 5 frames, drawn and filled, and started working on more. So there is a flow, like just like nowhere near as big as basswood. I guess it's clover mostly.
Yeah, our clover goes here. Our white Dutch clover goes on for quite a while, almost throughout the summer into fall. I don't know how much it really yields as far as the nectar, but
I don't know what
pretty
kind
consistent.
of. Sorry.
I think the Dutch clover doesn't yield very much at all. If anything, it's very early in the morning, and by let's say 10, 11 o'clock, it's probably burnt off by the sun.
Yeah, I think that crimson clover is the one that really. I think that's the clover, or like the yellow sweet clover and a white sweet. But I don't think they're actually clovers though. But
The clover I noticed is bright purple. So is that the crimson clover?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I noticed on the side of the roads.
Sweet clover is the term for it because it's not clover. It's can't be termed clover. It's sweet clover. And I was told that the white doesn't yield much, but the yellow yields just about the nicest honey ever. We have quite a few. It's a 2-year cycle on it, and I think this is the year sweet clover. Was down at Ian's this week, and man, there's sweet clover everywhere down there. We're starting to see a little bit of it here. It's a legume. It's not a clover.
Yeah.
The clover is a broad term. Alfalfa is clover. And there's a lot of different kinds of clover, but sweet clover is not clover. Oddly enough.
Well, do they plant that as a cover crop? The sweet clover, is that planted? What does that yield?
I don't know. It fixes nitrogen. Yeah. I'm under the impression that it's not something that's sown as much these days because it's kind of a non-indigenous and invasive. But I don't see it as really harmful. So I think it's just pervasive in the area. I know if you plow a field or something, quite often you'll plow up sweet clover seeds and then they germinate when they get some warmth. Near the surface.
I've seen that where here we have the I forget it's the purple ball clover. It has the big purple balls or pinkish balls, and those seeds there will lay dormant for years, and then all of a sudden they'll germinate and come up. But we don't have any of that sweet clover in our area that I know of.
Oh, you don't, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's very tall. Like it'll grow 4
Almost 10
feet or
right?
more.
Look who's here.
Evening, all. I'm
Hey,
driving
James.
again, so I figured I'd log on and say hi.
So what's up, James?
The man of the hour.
Miles and miles of highway. So, well, it's pretty good actually. I wanted to hit Edmonton tonight. Looks like I should be able to do that by about 11:30-ish. So
I know what's up. The temperature inside that truck. That's what's up.
it's It's 23 degrees outside and it's 24 degrees inside.
BS.
So what is that cold? Is that cold, Brad?
That's just
well,
a
I
little
waited-
warmer than room temperature.
I waited until Brad was in the truck. We were on our way into dancing.
Oh, the hottest day of the year. We head off to Bee Supply, an hour away, and we just get rolling. He says, "Oh, by the way, leave your window down because there's no AC in this truck." Like, dude,
23 is about 73 degrees.
I almost perished, and it was about 85, 90 degrees that day.
I almost perished.
Fahrenheit.
You almost perished. Yeah,
Well, I was in the truck. It was
Big
hot in
men
there.
sweat. You don't know this yet, James?
What's that?
Big
can't
men sweat.
You can't put a fat guy in that kind of a condition. They'll expire on you.
So if I said let's drive back to Grand Prairie and get more bees, you would have said no.
We're taking my truck.
Oh, actually, I was just talking to Alan. So our canola in Grand Prairie is it's bolting, so it's just starting to bloom. So I will be probably moving hives tomorrow night and dropping probably my first honey super on them all. So things are coming right along.
Nice.
Well, now, James, you said that you had bees at home that fill these 40 boxes up again.
Oh yeah, I got 47 6-way nukes that are bursting at the seams.
Oh, okay.
So we'll drop them into here, and then I got we got a bunch of queens that we'll drop back into the mating nukes and kind of do the rotation again and start all over again. So my I don't think I'll have any problem filling all of my equipment, including my 6-way or my 6-frame 3-way pallets, quite easily this year. So yeah, no, it's looking really well.
Hey, James, I have a question. Did you feed Apis in the fall last year?
I've been feeding Apis for just over 2 years, I think.
Okay.
All right, I got a question for anybody here. Now last fall I fed Apis. I gave each of my production colonies 4 gallons, and they were like overwhelming with bubbling with bees in the springtime. Now, can you feed too much of that? You know, if you feed sugar water with Apis till they quit drinking it, is that too much, and they'll go just explode or what?
No, actually, Andrew, I think it was on Ian's chat. I think it was. One of the times Andrew was on, though, that question came up and he answered that. So can you overdose, I guess is what you're asking. And his comment was no, you couldn't. And in fact, I think it was even more specific. I think they were asking, could they put too much? What would happen if you mixed it stronger than what he said? And he has a safety factor in there from what I understand. And
Well, I'm not going to overdose. I'm just looking at the amount of sugar water that I have Apis in it. Do I need to only give them so much sugar water with Apis and then so much just regular sugar water?
All of my sugar water gets Apis. I don't feed sugar water without it. I don't even feed sugar water to my starter finisher without it.
Okay, well that answers my question, because
Now I have a question for Bob. Bob, does Andrew make that big bag in biocontrol?
He does not.
Is there a reason why?
Yes. He makes this because it's easier to ship to
global
patty, because their batches are 600 pounds at a time.
Yeah.
So that's
That
what
makes
this
sense.
big bag is.
That makes
easier. So each one of these would be a batch of 600 pounds of global patty.
And I get, and the little bag makes a tote worth, so why would you need a big bag?
Yeah, so we did some math. Well, we tried to do some math last night, Charlie and I. and we figured out, what was it, Charlie? 1 tablespoon to 40 gallons.
Yeah, I have a 40-gallon tank that I have, and you put 1 tablespoon is what it takes for 40 gallons of sugar water. Of Apis biological. That's called. Was that the control, Bob?
Yeah, the control.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, it goes a long way.
It doesn't take much compared to the amount of liquid you got, what little bit of stuff you put in there. And to me, the way I describe it to people, in my opinion, Apis turns your sugar water into nectar. It gives all the
Hey, we like to see James, but we like to see you talk too, Charlie.
I thought it was just my screen. I said,
No.
I don't know what I touched on my phone, but all I can see is me.
You know, when you were picking your nose a second ago, though, we got a good scene of that.
Trust me, my head is big enough day to day. It doesn't need to be that big.
But I mean, that's my opinion of it. It just turns the sugar water into nectar and gives all the, enzymes and nutrients and everything else to that sugar water. And from what I can see of my own experience, it just makes the bees thrive.
Steroid.
Sugar water is like, it's okay, it gets them by, it's food, but when you add the nutrients of what nectar has in it, they just explode.
I fed it last fall and I fed it this spring, so there's always the exception to the rule, I guess.
Yeah, but
Same here, fall and spring, every time.
I had
Ever since
different
I
problems.
discovered it.
Did
I
they
guess.
ever trace that stuff, Brad? Have they traced it back anywhere yet? Did it come from syrup?
your sickness of your bees.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it's nosema, right? At least that's what I believe it is. The nosema levels in my colonies that were sampled were beyond exceptionally high, like unbelievably high. So I'm certain that that's what's harming them.
Hey, James, is there an update on the guy that broke into your shed?
Is there? Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I haven't been on since there. I've been a little busy. So the individual that was trying to break into my shed, I have a big, I guess it'd be what? I don't even know what gauge it is, but it's a 220 volt, 100 amp service that leaves the shed and it goes out to one of the outbuildings. So this individual thought he was going to steal the copper wire, so he took a pair of bolt cutters to it and blew the basically the jaws right off his bolt cutters. There was a big, you can see where the arc flash was on the side of the building. The bolt cutters were still there, and the wire and everything was still there. So he's lucky he didn't kill himself because he blew the 100 amp main breaker to the building.
And probably 2 testicles in the dirt where they fell out his pants. Like he blew them off.
So yeah,
That's for
that's
copper?
as far as he got. He literally got the shock of his life.
Jeez.
Just for copper?
So just for copper, yeah.
You have the most
my
interesting thief stories out of anybody I know. The guy that's the Slurpee and the bees out of the back of your truck.
That's the best one yet.
What's that?
The one that where you had the bees and they were stealing the
guy
box
at
of
the
bees.
7-Eleven there that took at the 7-Eleven. He stole the bees out of the back of stole 2, those little styrofoam mini mating nukes. So I made 4 mini mating nukes up. I think it was like Friday night from my hive at the house. And of course, each one of those takes about a cup of bees in each one of those little styrofoam mini mating nukes. And of course, they're all painted up. So I got them painted, nice green and blue and yellow. You can see it on my channel. But anyways, it was 26 or 28 degrees, so I thought I'm going to stop at the 7-Eleven on the way out to the apiary, and I'm just going to grab myself a slushie. So I wasn't in the 7-Eleven. I don't think I was. I know I wasn't 5 minutes. I was less than 5 minutes for sure. And I come back out and I hear this guy just screaming around the side of the 7-Eleven. I thought, what the heck? So I set my slushie down on the hood of my truck and I go around the corner. And here's one of my little mating nukes on the ground, still closed up, and the other one's all open. And this guy's sitting there and he's got bees hanging off his nose and his ear and all over his cheeks and his hands. And I look at him, it's like, what'd you steal those out of my truck for? He's like, I didn't steal them. Well, they
Right.
go over here by themselves. And I was mad for about this long. Because I thought, here's the perfect one. You know what? Theft really doesn't pay. So I grabbed my veil. I threw my veil on, closed up the nuke that was open, threw him in the back of the truck, and away I went. And you can't make stories like that up, because that was priceless.
He had
So
the hands
that-
in the cookie jar. I didn't steal it.
But the best part was, like I say, this bee had stung him on the nose and was hanging there because the stinger hadn't quite ripped out yet. Oh, it was hilarious. They're on his eyes, and his eyes half swelling shut.
I would have been rolling.
So I didn't. I see Brad's gone there. I was going to ask him. Did he get his? Anybody know if he got his mating nukes made up?
He said he did.
Yeah.
Out of his zombie hives.
Perfect.
There he
Yes,
is.
I did.
So
They are in the honey house.
Cool.
Film at
That was
11.
everybody.
Phil, no, you're still here. Here's Charlie. Got his popcorn.
Popcorn Charlie.
Potato chips.
Potato chips, but I had to get a drink.
Popcorn Charlie and Buckwheat Bob.
That's right.
Yeehaw!
There we go.
It's all down the road now. Hey, I couldn't have propagated seeds any easier if I wanted to. Just let them wash all down the road and all the ditches.
How
And,
bad did it get washed off your clay?
well, from what I've seen, the ones that had started sprouting pretty much are stayed in place. But the ones that hadn't started sprouting yet kind of washed down. So we'll see. I mean, it's $100, so
When did you actually plant that? Because it sprouted quick, didn't it?
2 days it took. I got him on Monday, so when I got home from work, I took a whiz on them, and they did good.
He loves that gag.
This thing, look, shooting buckwheat all over the place. But yeah, they started sprouting like within 2 days. So they did pretty good. But
Look who's here.
I was gonna say I got
gotta go.
another question for Brad. What model is your uncapper there, Brad? I know the make, but I don't know what the model is.
Old as dirt. Old as dirt. That's the model.
Old as dirt, he said.
I don't know. How would I know what model it is? You saw it. It doesn't say what model it is.
No, I just didn't know what the model said on your little plate there. That's all.
I'm not sure it does. I guess I can look.
he bought it from the guy at the 7-Eleven with the bee sting on his nose. It was hot. No, I'm just kidding. Randy, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing. I
Cat
just wanted to
goes
get in here with a bunch of people that knew beekeeping better than I do.
Good luck.
Hey, you're in the wrong.
So James, are you gonna fire up that 12-frame extractor there, getting ready for this big honey crop?
Absolutely. My bottleneck was uncapping, and I solved that problem with the help of Brad this trip.
What you got yourself
You
a queen?
think you did?
What, a queen of Capra? What'd you get, a
Well,
queen of Capra,
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever they call
I'm
them?
pretty sure I solved the problems.
Oh,
Well,
I keep cutting in and out. I'm
Yeah.
right beside a big bunch of power lines here.
I think he does that on purpose just to keep us in suspense. He doesn't really
Randy,
want to tell us what's going on.
your brother's got a what is it? A queen uncapping machine? Is it? They
Queen
call
line?
it
Silver Queen?
queen line.
I can't remember what the brand is. It's an older steam heated.
Like mine.
Knives.
Yeah.
I've seen you were in a video.
Yeah.
Does he have to hand crank it like I do?
There's a manual one and an electric one.
So he might have a licensed one.
No, I don't have a licensed one.
No, I think it's a Cowan.
These are way older than licensed.
In the States, I think in Poland they've been around for a while.
Yeah, I don't know when license came out, but I guarantee you these were pre-licensed.
James faded.
Yeah, he's fading out. So are you?
What he's doing?
You're going upstate to another state, Randy, or something another? I seen a video.
Yeah, we're going to the Illinois conference in July, and then I'll be up in Missouri at September or August. I can't remember which.
Right.
And one in Texas and one in Louisiana, and that's the 4 I've got scheduled so far.
So are they kind of like Hive Life type smaller versions of that?
They want to be, but Cayman just has such reach with his channel that it'd be hard to compete for even a really good group. You got to be on your game to put together a conference that big. Even probably the best one I've been to besides Hive Life was the Alabama conference, which really surprised me. I went over there and spoke last year, and there was probably 550 people. I expected 200-300, but just comparing it to the Mississippi conference, because we get 100 people here for our state conference, it's pitiful. So when I got to Alabama and it was pretty big and nice, I was kind of shocked. But I haven't been to another one that was
Right.
my wife shining a flashlight through the window. I haven't been to another one that even comes close to Hive Life. But I've probably only been to a dozen conferences in my life, and they've all been in the South. So, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Oklahoma and stuff like that.
You have to take your own bag of grits with you when you go up there, because they don't sell them up there.
Yeah, that and sweet tea's kind of made its way up there, I think, but they don't know what a grit is.
Well, now that's like here. My mother always made, called sweet tea or tea with sugar in it.
Yeah.
And all, but
Yeah, when he said grit, first thing that came to mind was sandpaper.
Yeah, grits are that's a big thing down here. Even at the seafood restaurants, you get shrimp and grits.
That's it.
Got a Cajun flavor to it.
Hominy.
Love me grits.
He's back.
Grits and collards is what I fell in love with in
Hail Hive
North Carolina.
in there. I got some Euro honey sitting behind me back there. I know you can't see it, but
Yeah, I see it. Whole bunch of it down there.
I don't know if this is going to work or not.
It's working so far.
You're working. We can see you, James, and hear you.
So when you gonna
I'm
unveil
right
what?
beside the cell phone tower in Saskatchewan, where there's not a tree or a hill for miles, and I can't get cell phone service.
We got you. We can hear you.
When you gonna unveil or whatever your purchase was?
No, he's gone.
See, he's avoiding the topic altogether.
what's the purchase of what?
I'm
I don't
assuming
know.
some extraction stuff, because we were talking about his bottleneck was uncapping, and he thinks he's got that solved.
Look at Brad, who knows what's happening. Like the
Yeah, I didn't-
smile.
I don't want to steal the man's thunder. I know exactly what he's going to tell you.
Watch the video.
I'm trying to get some equipment from John from Hilco. He's got some improvements coming on a bottling tank, and I'm gonna wait on that.
So those Hilco extractors, what are they? Are they Chinese or where they come from?
I don't know where he's sourcing the parts, but they're he's sourcing the parts and assembling them, I believe.
Yeah, I know. He had videos on that part of it.
I've talked to John for a grand total of about 15 minutes on the phone. I haven't ever even talked to him in person. Even at Hive Life, I went by his booth and he was slammed, and he came by ours and I was slammed, and so we just never have gotten together. But
right,
I talked to him yesterday for a few minutes, and really was just trying to line up getting a bottler for when we come to Illinois, because that's where he's at, and I was going to be, within range to stop by and pick it up and save shipping. So.
Well, they're free shipping anyway, so.
Yeah, but I don't. That's a lot of money to ship something like that. Save him a few bucks. If I'm already there, I don't mind coming out of my way, and then I'd get to see his place too.
His new place.
The only problem I have with his extractors is the in the basket, the round part is plastic.
Okay.
And that's the only down thing. That reminds me of a friend. There was a guy in our club when Brushy Mountain was still up and running, and they had a extractor that they were selling, and the ring part of the basket was plastic. And I just feel like after a while, plastic gets brittle and it'll break.
It degrades at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And all. But, price wise, it's, he has a pretty decent price, competitive from what I could see for the size of, equipment that he is, if it's like 12 framer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I had Lynn here. She was on here earlier. She was looking for an extractor.
But I thought he had like a 13 frame extractor, but I didn't see that on his website when I looked last time.
I don't know. It took me a minute to find his heated bottling tank. I went on the site, didn't see anything but a $150, single wall bottling tank. And Jennifer King down here had been talking to him, talking about going to work with him. And I told her, I said, I wish he had a heated bottling tank. She said he does. And she pulled it up and sent me the link. And I was like, oh, okay. I just needed to flip one more page over.
Well,
I haven't looked at much of his stuff.
Jerome Bee Farm, I think, got a bottling tank or something from him. I don't know whether that's one wall or whether it was a 2 wall, but I didn't particularly care for the valve on it at all. It was not bottle friendly for sure.
You can swap the valve out. I guess it's probably got the same clamp as the license tank. I guess I haven't really looked at it that close.
I don't know. Bob's got a license.
Yeah, I got a licensed bottling tank.
Yeah, we've got a licensed 18 gallon.
That's what I got.
I got a gate on the bucket.
Well, it looks like the one that he's got on the site here has the stainless 1-drip valve in it, and it's water jacketed, 19 gallon.
Yeah, that's
$950.
Yeah, out of stock.
Is it? It doesn't say that.
Doesn't
yeah, it does. Sold out. You're right.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
Hey, Randy, did you run any bees into almonds this year?
No, I wanted to go, but I was just too tied up. And the guys that I went with last time weren't going, so I was going to have to.
That looked like quite an adventure last time. I mean, you guys broke down a couple times, right?
It was the most fun I've had in beekeeping, hands down, was that trip to California. Just probably half of the fun was in the breakdowns and
you got stranded up there in the mountains with all that snow or whatever it was up there.
Yeah.
And then you were really excited. You never seemed like you never seen snow before.
I never seen snow like that.
I'm sure you don't remember, but I was the guy that you and I were conversing back and forth on Facebook Messenger. I live in a suburb of Fresno, and you were commenting on how many homeless people there were on the side of the freeway.
Yeah. Yeah. My mind was blown by that. I couldn't believe it.
they were digging into those high embankments like ground squirrels for a while. They finally got it taken care of. But
I saw that in New York. We went into New York City in the early 90s, I guess. And when you cross the bridge into Manhattan, it kind of goes around the island. And so the island, it's to us, it's a mountain, but it's just up on a hill. But the side of the hill just had just giant tunnels in the dirt. And I asked somebody about it. What's all those holes in the dirt? You know, are they building something? No, that's where the homeless people dig out and live. Okay. So we got to go to Central Park and watch the rats play in the snow over there. That's the only other time I've really seen a lot of snow.
Well, you would have seen a lot of snow if you were out here this year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it even snowed in Fresno, and that's rare.
Come to Canada next winter. You'll see snow.
I've been snow skiing a couple times, but it's you know, the snow was already on the ground. I haven't been in a blizzard like I was up in Flagstaff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was.
Well, you were up in the mountains there, right? When that what it was?
we were right up on the top of it. Yeah.
I was on 44, I think. Or is
Like
it 40? No, that's 40.
7,000 feet elevation.
Yeah, I've been on 40. Is that where you're going through the Rockies there, Todd? Or
No, that's Flagstaff is Arizona.
yeah, I've been to Flagstaff years ago, but I can't remember. I knew we took 40 out of coming out of Nashville and all, and 40 kind of goes along the bottom part of the country out through there towards the west and everything.
It's a boring drive because I've done it from California to Missouri and then round trip 5 years later, and it's rough, especially when you get into Mexico, because New Mexico, there's nothing there. There really isn't.
Yeah, I love that though. I've been to the desert a few times, and I've worked in Southern California quite a few times. So I love the desert. The last time I was out there for any length of time was in 2003 and 2004, and I took my dirt bike out there with me. Well, I flew out there to begin with and rented a car, and then came home for Thanksgiving, and I got my dirt bike in my truck and took that back with me, and then just every chance I got, I went to the desert or went to a motocross track. And I was a lot smaller then, so yeah, that was a good time there. Long trip though. Bad on the. I heard Charlie talking about sciatica. If you got sciatica, you don't want to make that trip.
Yeah, it's calming down now, but it's been a bear all summer. It seems like.
Yeah, I was kind of glad I wasn't on here when you started talking about your lady machines and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, the women always seem to use them abductor machines all the time, and
yeah,
and I always called them the girl machine because that's who always used them.
Yeah,
but they work for me. They tighten up my lower lumbar back area, and it's helping me out, like I say, with this leg pain right now and all.
Randy, there's a question about almond honey. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't, and I should have when I was out there. I keep hearing about how bad it is.
Yeah.
Everybody I know that runs bees on crops talks about how bad almond honey is.
Yeah.
All my Honduran friends that work in Mississippi every year, they run, they bring in 20,000 colonies back off of almonds. Or well, probably this year is probably 8,000 or 9,000. They bring them back here, split them up, make raise queens, requeen everything. But they go north with 20,000 colonies for honey. But all those guys, they say you don't want it. It leaves a bad taste. It's horrible.
It is. It's bad.
I haven't.
What's
tried.
it taste like? What's it taste like? What's kind of an aftertaste?
It's sour to me. I'd rather lick a bar of soap than have a spoonful of almond honey.
Really? It's that bitter.
Yeah, I just.
I'm gonna try some this year or this coming year when they come back off almonds this time. They're all done here now. They're gone north. They're done raising queens and splitting everything. But next year when they come in, I'm gonna go grab a frame off of it and see what it's like, just so I know.
You'll
Kind of
know.
like that mountain laurel honey. Apparently, it's really bad. On top of being mildly poisonous, I saw Bob Beanie talk about it.
What is it?
Mountain laurel honey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be poisonous or something or other like that.
Yeah, slightly poisonous. If you eat too much of it, you'll get sick.
Wow.
Mm. So, but
So I really just wanted to jump on here to testing out new equipment. Am I on this or am I on that?
You're on that one. The second one.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
no,
Am I on this one?
No.
That one.
No.
No.
Okay. I don't know how to use this stuff.
Go to settings in StreamYard and go to audio, and there should be a drop down for your mics if you got them both hooked up.
Did I change it?
Oh, that's much better.
Did I change it?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's definitely clearer and much more brighter.
Yeah, Greg Burns recommended this one. So
We know who's making all the YouTube money to be able to afford them mics.
not that I needed it, but I feel like every time I get on a stream with somebody and they want to talk, I feel like the guy with the little CB. Everybody's stepping on me, and so I was like, I'm not a loud talker. I was like, I need a mic with some oomph to it.
Sounds good though.
Yeah, I wish I was making all that YouTube money. YouTube cut my throat a couple of years ago. It's been sad. I thought I was gonna retire a full-time YouTuber the way it was looking for a little while, and then they said, I don't think so.
Yeah, I gave up on that like a long time ago, and I started only 4 years ago. So, yeah.
Well, for a while there, it was making a full-time income for a couple of years, and I don't know. I guess right before, I don't know, maybe 2019, 2020, they started dialing it back a little bit, and so it's been down a couple $1,000s every year since, and just keeps dwindling.
Is your impression
Is that where
it's the algorithm that's really doing that?
I think that's a lot to do with it, but also I think that there's just enough beekeeping channels out there that back then there was the only ones that I knew of there was a dozen beekeeping channels. Now there's a few hundred, and so I think you can just get your fix anywhere now, and I think that has something to do with it. But also the algorithm did change at some point because it was just an overnight flip. It wasn't a gradual change.
Have you seen a remarkable change in any of your specific metrics and analytics? Something like click-through rates and
no, that's all my analytics are fairly the same except for the views and the AdSense are just
right
down. Like, I mean, when they shut my channel growth off, it was overnight. I was going about 1,200 new subs a month, roughly 12 to 1,500, and overnight it stopped. It went from 1,200 a month to zero, and it stayed at zero for 6 months. I'd be getting 500,000 views a month and 0 new subs. So it was YouTube cooking the books, or I don't know what they're doing.
That doesn't translate. Something's wrong there.
Yeah. So and I contacted them a few times, and they said, no, everything looks right. So, after 6 months or so, it started growing again. It'd get 20 new subs a month or something like that. And I'm like, how do you get 400, 500,000 views and get 20 new subs or zero? I wasn't even losing. I wasn't losing or gaining. It was zero for like 6 months.
That's
you got to put on the bikini. That'll jump you up to 200,000-300,000 subs real quick.
That would crash my channel so fast.
It would change your subs all right. It'd give you some metrics to look at.
I'd have to go on another platform for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I just like whatever, it is what it is. I don't know a workaround for this, so I'm just going to keep putting out videos. If it comes back, it does. If it don't, I'm not starving to death. I got other things going on, so maybe it was good for me. Maybe it was a fun ride while it lasted, and it's over. Whatever.
That's a healthy way to look at it, because you know, I don't think there's any way anybody's going to beat it, regardless of what they're doing. If it's underhanded or not, you're not going to beat it.
No, and nothing lasts on this stuff. You know, everything's a flash in the pan, it seems. And
you can't put all your trust in Google. You can't earn your living off of Google.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
I know Ian's been telling me some of the same things, that he's seeing weird stuff, and he just doesn't think that it's quite legit, you know.
I don't, and part, you know, I'm a good conspiracy theorist, you know. That's part of what I like to do. But part of my thing is that mine and Jeff and JP's and a couple other guys that had monetized channels that were making decent money, all of us kind of dropped at the same time. And I think because they were still running ads on everybody else's channels that weren't monetized, they could offer the same or similar content and not have to pay AdSense out. And so instead of promoting channels that they had to pay for content, they can promote smaller channels that they don't have to pay, get the same content out, have the same satisfaction rate for their customers or whatever, and pocket some money. And I'm not saying that happened just in beekeeping. I think it probably happened across the board with a lot of different platforms, or a lot of different genres. But I think I think Google was kind of working the system like that.
It makes sense.
So, you know, if you got guys that'll show up and work for free, why pay the guys that are doing the same work for a whole lot more money?
Where do you think Made in China came from?
Yeah,
it's exactly the same game.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Back then, you know, there wasn't all you guys and Bob and Ian and Cayman and all those guys that are popular now, and rightfully so. And so I don't do the same thing they do. I don't deep dive into much of any subject. I like to have fun and keep it light, and I know beekeeping, but I'm not going to
you're not the how-to guy.
I'm not going to talk about all the components of Apis and how strong you can go with it, because I don't really care. But I mean, I care, but it's not like that's at the top of my mind all the time. Like I did a live stream last night, and somebody said something about Fred gets the same amount of views I do, and I can't remember how I responded, but basically, you get more when you watch Fred, because Fred deep dives on every subject that he talks about, and so you get in-depth reviews or in-depth details or whatever. And with me, you're going to be, how do you like Apis? Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well,
are your bees growing on? Yep, I think they are.
It's a difference between watching a documentary and watching, you know, an entertainment. You know, whether it be, well, I was not going to say watching a comedy, because I mean, there's some comedy in your channel, but it's more entertainment than it is, you know, instructional video sort of thing, right?
Well, that's when I first started growing decent. My dad is all about instructional. He wants to teach. He has no sense of humor. He doesn't want to clown. Everything's serious, and he doesn't get humor. He doesn't get jokes. It goes over his head. If he's laughing at a joke, it's because somebody else is laughing and he thinks he's supposed to.
I know the type.
But when my channel started growing, he's like, "You should do this and this and this," and I said, "No, that's not." He said, "Well, you know, I'd go to a bee conference to learn about that stuff." I said, "Yeah, but that's not what people come to YouTube for. They come to YouTube they want to learn something, but they also love to be entertained." And the comparison I gave him was, I pulled up some famous person's name. I said, when you go to a bee conference in Mississippi, how many people show up? He said, I don't know, 150 or whatever. I said, if you went to that same conference and Garth Brooks showed up, you think there'd be room in the parking lot? It's all entertainment. And so So that's why I told him. I said my channel is going to have some education to it because there's no sense in having it otherwise. But it's going to be a lot of having fun, showing what a good time beekeeping can be, showing my personality, whatever. I just like having fun. But at the same time, I do like to teach, and I like for there to be some value to what I'm putting out there, and not just be, I'm puking on y'all my stupidity.
Now, fun and teaching are like what I like best when I want to learn something.
Yeah, and I learn better that way. If I'm listening to somebody that's dry, I'll pick up something, especially if it's an interesting subject. But if they're really entertaining, it's going to stick with me more.
That's so right. And I try and teach in my channel too, but I don't try and teach people things in my channel. What I try to do is explain it because I'm the one who's learning, right? I found I've actually taught in my past and in a formal sense, and I find that if you can explain it, then you get a better understanding of it yourself, and that's kind of what I do on my channel. And if somebody gathers something from that, great. If not, that's fine because I've still met my objective. It's if I can explain it to somebody, then mission accomplished.
The why is important.
Yeah. I do better. I'm like, I don't know, I compare myself to a prop comic. If I've got something there that I can see that I can put my hands on and talk about, I'm fine. But to sit here and talk about something that I'm just thinking, I'm all right. But if I can talk about a product and put my hands on it and show you this is what it's shaped like, this is what it does when you turn it this way, and you spread it out, you can lay it on this. If I've got something to work with, I can go all day. But just to talk about something like Cayman does, I was explaining that last night. I can't just do it. I can't just sit there and just go on and on and on about a subject.
Yeah, I don't know how he does that by himself. Where he'll take a question off this chat side and just expand on it. That's tough.
It's a skill. I don't know if it's a skill or talent, but I'll call it a skill because I know you can learn it. But he's good at that. But the conference we're going to is not going to be a Hive Life thing. It's going to, it's going to be me, Cayman, Natalie. Who else did I say?
Corey Stevens,
Mr. Ed, that crowd, and then there's a handful of folks that I didn't know. Corey's another one I've never gotten to sit down and talk with. But at Hive Life, I ran across him for just about 2 minutes, and I said, "Stop by my booth before you leave. I want to talk to you." And we were covered up with people when he got ready to leave, so I didn't get to spend any time with him. But maybe on this one, maybe we'll have some extra few minutes to go have dinner or something. Speaking of northern and southern, do y'all have Barks root beer?
We do here
up north.
You betcha.
Yeah.
A&W is better.
A&W is awesome.
What?
It is.
I'm gonna spit on my computer.
Is that sugar free, Randy?
No.
No.
Barks was developed right here in Biloxi.
Oh, wow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's popular here.
Huh. Gone nationwide.
International.
Yeah.
Oh,
y'all are in. That's right. You're in
Kanakistan.
You where?
Kanakistan.
Canadia.
Canadia.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it y'all were talking about earlier? The words I like to hear Americans pronounce.
Saskatoon and Saskatoon.
Saskatoon, yeah.
Saskatoon and Saskatchewan.
Yeah, we got a lot of weird names here because, well, weird. That's not very respectful, but there's a lot of names that are from the Native Americans, I think. So sometimes a name like that comes up.
Oh yeah, a lot of them. Like the city nearest me is Winnipeg, and if you say it like a Cree or a Soto or something, the word is muddy water because the Red River is very muddy. And so that's what Winnipeg is. Winnipeg. So it's all from that. And I mean, America is filled with that kind of stuff. Chicago is onion swamp.
Yeah. We have
And
a
I'm
lot
in
of.
Quebec, so everything here is in French.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we just ignore all that.
Did you say onion swamp?
Wow.
I was
We,
told it's
we have a
onion
good
swamp.
we have a good mix of that down here. A lot of the town names is hey Greg Dunn. A lot of towns around here are American Indian inspired. Van Cleve, Biloxi, Pascagoula, those are all Indian tribes, and Gaucher and stuff like that. But if you try to pronounce them like they're spelled, they don't. Biloxi is probably the only one that's really kind of close. But then you go over to Louisiana, an hour away, and it's all French Creole inspired.
Yeah, they sent all their, what was it? Their prisoners from France over here. I think it was what they told
Yeah.
us in school.
That's right.
No.
Canada with a K is Canada. Canada is
Canada.
village.
Now, is it Quebec or Quebec?
Quebec. The way it's pronounced.
Quebec is how we say it.
Quebec,
Or
Quebec.
Quebec. Like
Quebec.
most Americans will say Quebec, but
Yeah.
it really is pronounced Quebec.
Anglos, Anglos trying to say French words. That's different.
Yeah, well, I've said it a million times. French is a needlessly complicated language. It's ridiculous. I've been bilingual since the age of 11. I've always preferred English.
Canadian French is an ancient language, is what it is. France French people come here, they don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Lee from
Yes, it
Kodiak
is an
Farms is
older
bringing
form
up
of
some.
Sorry,
Randy.
what?
I was Lee from Kodiak Farms is bringing up some good ones from over there.
I don't think I'm going to try and pronounce that. I'll get bleeped out or cut off or something.
Yeah, I think that's the Funky River.
Tavuki. Yeah, sounds right.
Well, I'm gonna jump off. I just wanted to I really was trying to figure out how to move the comments over so I don't look like I'm looking down like this the entire time I'm doing a live, and I still hadn't figured that out. So maybe
Well,
one day.
you have how big is your screen, Randy?
15 and a half, 16.
Okay, yeah, I got this
Laptop.
Yeah.
a laptop.
Yeah.
Laptop.
Yeah, what I had to learn is the StreamYard. You split your screen. You got StreamYard over here, and what is it? The Google or the YouTube on the other side. And all I'm watching on the YouTube side is the comments because it comes up first there, and then it comes up over on StreamYard.
Yeah, same here. I just moved most of the screen where the YouTube comments are outside the window, and I just see the comment section.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I don't know. I'll figure it out one day.
Hey, Randy.
Yep.
Hey, before you go, so I don't do cutouts, right?
Okay.
But I have to go do one. This is like where my bees are. The owner of the property wants me to. It's an old and abandoned house. So I have no choice. I have to do it. So give me one thing to go, like one piece of advice to make this go well, because these bees have been in this house for years.
Do you know where they're at in the house?
They're tearing the house down in a couple months, but okay. So what? Just give me something, anything.
Use smoke.
Use smoke. See, I thought not use smoke because I don't want to burn the damn house down.
Just make sure your smoker's packed full and keep a little fire extinguisher with you.
Right.
But use smoke. Don't be scared to use smoke. Are you using a vac or no?
I'm gonna make one.
Yeah, I highly recommend using a vac. Use smoke when you're first going in. See how they act. If you can get away without smoke for the rest of the time, fine. That way you're not chasing bees everywhere.
Right.
Work slow and methodical. Don't try to rush through it. Don't try to impress anybody. Just take your time. Let the bees clean up behind you when you're cutting combs. Don't try to empty all the bees off the combs before you take the entire hive out. Just, run bees off. You can use the smoke to run bees off combs. Cut that comb, frame it or trash it, whatever you're going to do with it. Move on to the next one. Just take your time.
Do you always find your queen pretty much all the time, Randy?
Probably I'd say 75% of the time. A lot of times we vacuum her up. Like I had a bunch riding in the bed of my truck for 3 days that had a queen with them. Pete vacuumed them all up. I didn't think he got the queen, but he did. He vacuumed her up. And so I just left everything back laid on the side with the cover off of it. And it was just a small cluster of bees. I figured they'll leave. There's not a queen in there. Well, they hung in there for like 4 days. I forgot they were even in there. I'm riding down the road and the FedEx truck keeps pulling up next to me, and the runner in the FedEx truck's looking and hitting his buddy and telling him to look over at this truck. I'm like, what the heck are they looking at? And I was like, oh, that bucket of bees is still there. So when I got home, I see they had kind of dwindled. It was just a grapefruit sized bundle of bees there. And so I bumped the bucket down. I was like, they've been there that long. There's a queen in there. So I bumped the bucket down, and sure enough, there's a queen in it. So I dumped them in a hive this morning before I went and did another cutout today.
Yeah, Mr. Ed says he has to find the queen for Randy.
I thought that's what you're going to say. I call Mr. Ed.
No, if most of the time, if we don't find the queen, Pete was doing a lot of the work. If I do, like I did a cutout this morning, found the queen, had to show the customer because they always want to see the queen. So I make a pretty good effort to find her. But if we're in a business or apartment complex, we do a lot of those. If we're in a business like that, we're trying to hurry up and get out. We're not taking our time. We've got customers that just want the bees gone. They don't care. So we're vacuuming everything. If I see her, fine. If not, Pete's not going to see her. He's not good at spotting queens. So if I see her, I'll grab her. And other than that, I don't really care. We'll get home. I'll dump her in a box, and normally we have her, but seeing her is about 75% of the time, maybe.
I've seen you where you do cutouts, and sometimes you fix the people's houses or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is that something you do all the time, or is that just occasionally you have to do that?
No, I'll fix. I'll put back most of everything. Like today, I went through a shed floor, and site-built shed, about 8 inches off the ground, maybe. So I had to cut the floor. There's no other way around it. So we had to cut the floor. I cut it on 2 joists. On those joists, and then open floor on the rest of it. So I built back structure in and screwed all that floor back down when I was done. You just keep a treated 2x or pieces in the back of your truck. It don't take much to do something like that. So I used probably, it was a 22.5-inch piece and a 22-inch piece of 2x that I screwed in to fix that structure.
Right.
And just screwed the floor back down on top of it. But on apartments and things like that, we'll just screw sheetrock back up when we're done, just to close the hole, because a lot of the time they're occupied units. I don't do much of the finished work unless it's late in the season, because we're just so busy with cutouts. We just don't have time for it. And Pete doesn't like to paint, and I don't like for him to paint. So caulking, we do a lot of caulking. We'll put stuff back, soffit and fascia and stuff like that. We'll put that back, caulk it. You can't hardly tell we've been there. It might need a little paint depending on what color it is, but most of the time you can't tell we've been there when we leave. So there's not a lot of people around here that do that. There's one other guy that I know of that does putbacks when he's done, and he's training for MMA stuff right now, so he's not even doing cutouts right now. He's sending me all his stuff. But most people would just cut it out and run. Yappy doesn't do any repairs. JP, I don't think does any repairs.
Yeah, I haven't seen JP on. I used to watch him all the time, and it just kind of faded away.
Yeah, he's done a few this year.
Yeah, and Mr. Ed doesn't do any repairs because every time he does a cutout, they tear the building down when he's done. I don't know if y'all noticed that. We're going to get bees out of this building. They're tearing it down. So yeah, that cutout you're doing, just take your time, man. Have fun with it. Don't get overheated. I don't know where you at. You're in Pennsylvania. What's the temperature like up there? Is it hot?
70s, 80s right now.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not too bad.
Get shade. Get shade. Stay hydrated. Get you a wash bucket. Keep a wash bucket with you. And I don't know. That's it.
I just want to get it in the first try.
A
And not
suggestion I would make, based on Bob's experience, test your BFAC first, so you don't make bee soup, since you're gonna make your own.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And if you get on a ladder, make sure all 4 legs are on the ground.
Right.
Yes.
Makes for interesting content. See, if I would have failed,
Don't drop your ladder on your tailgate.
Or you could get a new nickname, Stuntman Darren.
if I would have failed, it would have went viral. See,
Or Faceplant Bob.
that's it.
Yeah, he could do like where he can get her and walk the ladder across.
Yeah.
You know?
Your widow would have done well on that viral video.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why I called Pete Stuntman Pete, because he was cutting a tree limb and the limb swung down and knocked the ladder out from under him, and it was about 13 foot in the air. Took him months to recover, so I nicknamed him Stuntman Pete.
Yeah, that's a bad situation.
Sound like a Super Dave thing there.
Yeah,
Super Dave Osborne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee, I'm talking about Dan. Dan's been, I don't know if y'all know, well, y'all don't know him. Dan Triplett was on that fishing trip with us, and he was on Lee's video, but he's a master jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's our age. He's 50. He's probably a year or two older than me. He might be 55, but he's competing in masters. He's flying all over the place, winning competitions, and developed some move called the buggy choke. I said, I need you to put the jet buggy choke on me. He said, "You're too thick." So yeah, that's who we're talking about, Lee. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go. Get back to your rat killing here, and I'm gonna shut her down and go get in bed. I got another cutout to do in the morning.
Have a good night.
Good to see you, Randy.
Good luck on
Yeah,
your
good.
cutout, Darren.
Yeah, come on back anytime, Randy.
Enjoy visiting with all you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you at Hive Life.
All
See
right.
ya.
All right.
Take care.
So
That was a pleasant surprise.
yeah, he usually stops in on your studio thing, Bob, and he's always at what is it, the Burger King or the
He's always in a drive-through. We always ask him what
drive-through
drive-through
something,
he's
Drive through Randy.
and all that, or a truck stop gas station getting a swarm or something coming off of one of them beat trucks and all that. So, well, it's getting almost 11 o'clock here. So,
Gonna call it a night.
yeah, I think I will. I got to get up and go tomorrow. Everybody else is tired. I think we've talked about everything we could possibly talk about and all that. I'm glad that Brad's got bees and things are going good for
I saw the
him.
most horrible thing ever.
Brad's glad that Brad has bees too. I had to say that slowly. That's hard to say.
Bob looks like he's in shock.
I am. This lady was in a plant, and it was a mold, and she reached through the mold, and the damn press came down on her arm, and she thought enough to back the machine up, and when she brought it out, it was just like
Pancake
gelatin in skin.
Oh,
Ooh, terrible.
Ouch.
Oh, I can't unsee that. Why did someone put that on Facebook?
I saw one of those once. It was a man in some factory working a metal lathe. And 1 minute he was there, and the next minute he was gone. And he got spun through it. I don't know if it was fake or what, but.
Well,
that can happen.
That was closed circuit footage. So it was like, I don't think they photoshopped that one.
That's the rule in the wood shop. You know, table saw cut your hand off, but a lathe will rip your arms off.
Well,
You know,
this
there's
guy,
not much in the wood shop will actually kill you, but a lathe will.
yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I actually, well, he comes still. It didn't kill him. He was he has a what would you call it? A metal. Well, he sells metal and stuff like that, and he also has like a drive shaft lathe for making drive shafts. And he you know, he didn't do what the where he had the same lathe teacher that I had when I was in school, and about not using gloves and not using long sleeves and stuff like that around lathes, and it sucked his arm in. And luckily it was somebody that had hit the emergency stop, but they saved his arm and everything and all that, but it was a bad situation.
I have a small lathe. It's about maybe like 20 inches long, and like the safety manual says, put glasses and a face shield. And I'm glad I followed the instructions, because I was starting using it, and I forgot the reflex to bring down the face shield, and the goblet I was making shattered, and the safety glasses saved my eyes. It's smashed into the glasses, and it made a small cut on the nose bridge here, and but it splattered the blood. My brother freaked out when he saw that. But yeah, follow safety instructions. They're there for a reason.
Yeah. Now that was a wooden lathe or a wood lathe?
Wood lathe, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
because I work resin and wood sometimes. Like when I get into an art, like when I want to, so it's comes in spurts. I want to do something manual. So I think I've shown Bob some of the things I made, and Brad too. Like the wooden bee I started 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see that.
And the ostrich egg flower I made. Those are examples. I made a tree out of metal wire and stuff like that. I made if I don't think any of you know Minecraft, but it's a game where everything is block shaped, and the torches are like basically a rectangle with a glowing red top. So every year I go apple picking with my family. I just ask the owner of the orchard, can I get one of those apple log? And I can go get it. Just give me a second.
So Charlie, you remember me showing you that lumber planer machine? It was a while ago. That lumber planer that I grew up running.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a machine with 100 ways to kill a man and rip your arms off.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that was
1919 when they built it, or 1909 when they built it. There was no such thing as safety protocols.
No OSHA there, was
Just
there?
Don't stick your hand in that. That was the only safety protocol.
What is that?
As you see, like it's
Wood.
just a rectangle with a resin red top. It's supposed to be a video game torch, and what I did is I drilled a hole so I could put a flashlight in it so it lights up. And another thing I made, I had one ostrich egg left over, and I saw somebody work kintsugi, which is a Japanese art of fixing pottery with a glue that's laced with gold dust. So I just shattered an ostrich egg and glued it back up together, and that was fun using epoxy glue. And then added gold leaf to the still curing glue. And the bottom section is a salt crystal, Himalayan salt. I just added some lacquer so it doesn't melt if it gets too humid. And the base is zebra wood, and there's a light added to it. So it basically makes a glowing cracked egg with golden highlights.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to shut it down for tonight, and we've had fun. So till next Friday, or we'll see you on Bob's stream on Tuesday night.
Should be on Lee's channel this week.
Lee's. All right, we'll be
Wait a
on
minute.
Lee's.
Hold on, we skipped. Did we skip what we skipped last?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
you didn't.
Yeah.
You
I think it's. I don't know if it's going to be on mine or Lee's. Just watch
You
your
were,
damn.
you were standing on a ladder and Lee wasn't feeling good.
Watch your notifications. Watch your notifications. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, watch the notification. All right, here we go. We'll see y'all later.